Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. So, guys, today, what are we doing? We're reacting to Splatoon 2 Inkopolis, the showdown of 2022, the Event 1 finals, guys. So, this is Splatoon 2 Inkopolis, and as you can see, it's a pretty long video. So, guys, what I think you guys should do, I think you should sit back, grab your drink, your popcorn, and let's get right into the video, guys. So, guys, can you do me a favor? If you're new to the channel, please hit that big red subscribe button down below in the video. If like a gray man's old hair, hit that fat subscribe button like a gray man's old hair and make it turn gray. But guys, anyways, now let's react to it. So, guys, the stream is starting soon. So it's the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown of 2022. So, guys, this is going to be a very long ride. 2 hours seems like a lot. So, guys, let's hope you like it. Oh, they're already starting.
Welcome, all you kids and squids, to our recap of the Splatoon 2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021. My name is Ninehole Grains. I'm a Splatoon commentator and a huge fan of the game, and I cannot be more excited to bring the action to you here today.
Nice. Hi everybody, my name is Milana, and I'm an enthusiastic squid kid just like you. Today we're joined by two teams, Not FT Win and Starburst, two of the best teams in North America, duking it out for a trophy featuring Judd and Lil Judd. Without further ado, let's take it to game number 1.
Alright, they're just starting with it.
Game 1 was a story of decisive movement and trusting your gameplay.
Ain't this
Boy, did
Splatoon
these
3?
teams get it started early.
That's right, Nine. We can see here Kyo getting an early splatted by Bran and Ice. And both members of Starburst moving to that advantageous positioning.
Okay.
And, really just holding down that zone where they need to be.
Okay.
It's not easy to take back against this team, and take a look at how Not FT Win did it. Look at all those bombs flying from left to right. Booyah bombs, suction bombs, splat bombs. Woo! Had to back all the way back and give up the zone there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and we can catch that slow-mo replay in case you missed a little bit of that action. As we can see here, some of those suction bombs running in and trying to catch that zone from Not FT Win. And what is important here to notice is that two members of FT Win trying to combine their specials to hold that zone. And because, there's power in numbers, Nine.
There absolutely is power in numbers. I see what you did there. And this is actually a strategy that they used multiple times throughout this game. We actually have it from the perspective of Bagel this time, who's lined all the way back, tossing the suction bombs from as far away as possible, understanding that they need to stay on the map if they want to take the zone. Out the corner of your eye, you'll also see that Kyo had jumped down with another bomb rush as well. It was just enough to take the zone back as they were on the verge of defeat. With just over 10 seconds left, they bought themselves some more time.
And like we said, positioning. Biscuit here is taking kind of a dangerous position and unfortunately gets picked off by Ice, but Ice here using that pick to make space and take a more advantage spacing so that they can protect the zone.
Oh, okay.
The two teams traded punches back and forth through the rest of it until this final decisive hold here from FT Win. Bagel once again gets it started out with that suction bomb rush, but take a look here. Holding down this area by this fan to ensure that his teammates could move up. You're going to see here just in a moment, Kyo backs up here next to Bagel and uses another bomb rush in order to force the members of Starburst all the way back. Once they got this portion of the map, Milana, they never let it go.
That's right, Nine. And we see that timer ticking down, and this was the decisive play that gave them the victory.
A fantastic game number 1, and let me tell you, when we saw that game number 1 looked like this, we knew we're in for one heck of a set. And speaking of that set, let's go ahead and throw it right into the middle with game number 4.
4? Okay.
As we enter game 4 of the Fresh 4 Championship, Not FT Win only has one more game to claim the victory. Starburst is going to have to make some big changes, so they opt to change their weapon composition to something a little longer ranged.
When Starburst gained a bit of range, they gave up in mobility. About halfway through the game, Not FT Win took advantage of a slight overextension and used that speed to swarm the members of Starburst as they went on to score big. From there, it was a hop,
Whoa.
skip, and a jump to
Oh my
get
God.
a huge lead that they would hold until the game's waning seconds.
And with 30 seconds left on the clock, Starburst is going to have to make some big moves to get some points on the board.
Yeah, for sure.
Brandroid taking that left route over there and getting a pick off of not FT win is going to be huge. It's going to give them a little bit of area to move forward, and it's going to make not FT win retreat.
They took advantage of that almost immediately. You can see Bran and Jared at the top of the screen attacking not FT Win's flank. In the meantime, Ice and Brandroid wait patiently for that attack to land, and once Bran rotates back, Ice moves in with a huge score that starts the bonanza. The rest of the members swarm as quickly as they can, and an emphatic victory going the direction of Starburst.
And with the end of Game 4, Starburst is finally on the board, and the momentum starts to shift in their favor.
Finally,
that
Starburst.
will bring us to an exciting Game 7. Let's take a
Oh
look
my
at it.
God, that was so close.
We have finally arrived at Game 7, the championship point. The two rivals had treated us to another incredible set in their storied history.
Okay.
But it was finally time to determine a winner and for heroes to be made.
All right. Oh, did he get
Our
3
first
points?
big
Okay.
play was made by Ice. Ice from Starburst surviving an unlikely 2v1 right here, and this gives Starburst the ability to push up a little bit. And
Okay.
Ice taking that aggressive positioning is able to charge their special, the Stingray. By using the Stingray, they are able to kind of produce a little bit of covering fire and take out hopefully a member or two of not FT Win, helping that Rainmaker make its first push.
All right.
Not to be outdone by his teammate, Bran went on an absolute tear this game, hitting an incredible double direct with this Inkjet and getting a second pick on Kyo from not FT Win. This push looked like it might take the points the distance.
Yeah,
as
it
the
looks
team
like
moved
Starburst's
closer
gonna
and
win,
closer to
actually.
getting that knockout.
What Starburst wasn't anticipating was Biscuit waiting for them as they were making that push. Biscuit able to hold that defensive positioning and take a couple of members of Starburst down allows for an opening for not FT Win to make a push.
No way.
In their
It's
final
actually closer than I
desperate push,
thought.
FT Win placed all their cards in
Oh,
the
no, I
correct
think not
position.
FT Win
Kyo
can
and
win.
Bagel moved up, taking out 3 members, with the last one being Brandroid. In an incredible, unlikely fight, Brandroid was able to take out all 3 members
Starburst
of not
won
FT
somehow.
Win, securing the victory for his team.
Who won?
But that was a lot of action in one go. So let's take another look at
Wait,
the
who
action
actually won?
in slow-mo.
I thought Starburst
As we can
won.
see here, 2D is holding a defensive positioning, trying to defend against Bran, getting a lot of support from their teammates. And in this one last final opportunity to make the push, unfortunately, Brandroid is able to stop all 3 members of not FT Win in one go, giving the victory to Starburst.
Whoa, my God. Unbelievable
At the
finish.
end of this historic set, Starburst completed an incredible reverse sweep to earn their very first North American Championship.
A 9,
Nice.
I for one cannot wait to see not FT Win and Starburst duke it out on the
Okay, wait,
battlefield
hold on. I'm
once
gonna
again.
pause it for 1
We
second.
hope you'd enjoyed this.
So guys, I'm just gonna pause it for 1 second because sometime around this thing, I'm gonna be AFK because 2 hours 13 minutes. I can't sit here for that long. So I'm gonna be AFK for a little bit. So I'm actually gonna be AFK right now because I actually haven't had breakfast yet. So I'm gonna go have breakfast, guys. Meanwhile, you guys watch the rest.
2 Fresh 4 Championship 2021. Until next time, stay
Stay
fresh.
Whether it's to play your favorite game, to play for school pride, or for the thrill of competition. Play competitively with Play Versus. Visit playvs.com today for more information.
In this house, we duel.
Here we go.
In their house, we duel. In our house, we score. We We love teaming up. Play. And we love a little competition.
Oh, it's okay. You got it next time. You got it next time.
Ready? Whether it's with family, friends, or rivals near and far.
This is the end. What?
So whichever sport you choose, victory could be just within reach. You ready to play? Nintendo Switch Sports. Available now only on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, baby! Well, happy summer to everybody and welcome into the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022. Thank you so much again for joining us. Jordan Kent here, your spray-by-spray host. Great to be back in the seat. And joining me, two of the finest Splatalists from all of Inkopolis. We have Nine and Milana. And before we get to the tournament, 4 teams duking their way to a championship here today. We have to talk about Splatoon 3. And Milana, let's start with you. We're about 2 months away from Splatoon 3 coming here. We've got a very deep meta in Splatoon 2 that has developed, but what are you most excited for as we get set for the next iteration of Splatoon?
Well, Jordan, we all know that I am a huge coffee fan, so the instant I saw those espresso machines launching the squids onto the battlefield, man, my heart soared.
Oh, I love it. And Nine, there's obviously so many intricacies that we will develop here soon when we get a chance to play Splatoon 3, but it really is going to be awesome just to see how things will develop with the next iteration here.
Yeah, it's the Wild West whenever a new game's come out, and that first few months of the game where everyone's figuring out the very basics of it, nothing is really set in stone yet, and some hero can come out of nowhere to show us that we really don't know much about the game. I mean, it's going to be pandemonium.
Well, before we get to Splatoon 3, we have got the Inkopolis Showdown 2022 to get to. And we've got 4 teams, as we mentioned before, that'll be facing off. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket for today, because some familiar faces, but also some new faces. And as we look at these teams here, Nine, give us a brief little rundown as far as what we are going to expect.
Yeah, at the top half of the bracket, Cherry Limeade and Ryu here. Cherry Limeade, a team of mad scientists, as they like to call themselves, will be strategizing their way around the maps. Ryu is a team of players that a lot of competitive Splatoon fans are going to be familiar with, who've been pushing their individual weapons for about as long as this game's been on. And at the bottom half, we have really the most known commodity in the tournament, Jackpot, a team that most would consider to be certainly a top 3 team, maybe a top 2 team in North America, up against Lyrical Lemonade. And I tell you, I did my homework on this team here, watching their run through the tournament. Their sharpshooters are some of the best, and I can't wait to see what they're able to do against a top-level team like Jackpot.
Yeah, Lyrical Lemonade, Cherry Limeade. I got to get my straws ready because that just screams summer for me. And let's take a look at the semifinal breakdown, because that's where our action is going to begin. It's best of 5, and it's a single elimination bracket, as we mentioned. And here are some of the game modes that we'll see, all the ones that you're familiar with: Rainmaker, Clan Blitz, Tower Control, Splat Zones. The team with the lower seed will choose the mode for the first game. The other team will choose the stage after the very first game. It'll be the losing team that'll choose the mode for the next game, and the winner will choose the stage. As a reminder, you cannot repeat stages, and you can only repeat game modes once you've gone through all 4 game modes. And we'll let you know more about the grand finals when we get there. But Milana, when we look at the current meta for Splatoon 2 at a highly competitive level, you better bring your shooter, you better be able to move quickly, and expect to see a lot of Kensa 52 gals and Kensa splash shots here today.
Yeah, for sure. There is so many, there are going to be so many shooters that are going to be bringing their A game to this tournament. We might see something like you said, a Kensa 52 gal, maybe a Kensa splatter shot, Splash-O-Matic Neo, and obviously the very classic NZAP 85 and the Splattershot Junior to give a little bit of support where it's needed.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and let you know what they will be playing for. Of course, there will be some spoils going to the victor. We'll whip through that here real quick. A gaming chair, a Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022 trophy, 10,000 My Nintendo gold points, a gaming headset, Splatoon 2 jacket, backpack, Nintendo
I don't know
Switch
what it is.
carrying
I don't know
case.
what
And of
I'm
course, all the
watching
bragging
yet
rights that come with
I
that.
missed
But
a little bit,
Nine,
so
we mentioned some of these teams, and this is an opportunity for some of these units to claim a championship. And it's already been very competitive, but when you get to this level, and you get to a Final Four, you got to go through semifinals and grand finals. What have you seen from your experience as far as what separates you from the rest of these elite teams?
Composure, in a word, and that's the one that we always use, because I think a lot of people may say, well, maybe the top teams didn't show up to this tournament. But you got to understand there's a lot of pride in these teams. If you put a lot of teams in a bracket and say, go get first, they're going to bring it. So there certainly is pressure on these teams, but there's a lot of excitement as well. If you listen in on the comms that these teams have, some of them were streaming a little bit earlier. Every time they got a splat, there was screams, there was jubilation, and I just can't wait to see what they're able to bring when that excitement hits the fan.
As we get set for our first game here, Milana, it has been really fun to see over the lifespan of Splatoon 2 just how the competitive scene has grown, how we've seen new faces really come into the foray and start to establish themselves, which means the player pool, the competitive pool, as we make the transition to Splatoon 3 here in a couple of months, will be larger than anything we've ever seen before.
For sure. And you know, I've heard from the community. I know a lot of people who are really interested in the competitive gameplay, but they're really not willing to make that step into competitive gameplay for Splatoon 2.
I might order Splatoon 3 when it comes out, though. I might.
So I'm looking super forward to seeing what kind of new players will show their faces in competitive Splatoon 3.
Okay.
And Nine, you and I were talking.
Wait,
when teams are this
there's
skilled,
competitive?
especially
Holy
with the
sh!
team comps that
Okay,
we're gonna
I'm
see,
definitely
a lot of
getting
shooters,
Splatoon
of course,
3.
you've got a couple of backline weapons to choose from. It's going to come down to those one-on-one
I'm probably not going to get it
matchups.
till Christmas, though, because my dad said if I want it, I can put it on my Christmas list.
Sure
so I'm probably not going to get Splatoon 3, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks a Whole, or
this game knows that
any other Nintendo Switch game that's soon be coming out. I'm probably not going to get it up until
where
Christmas.
that game plan goes away. You get popped a little bit, you're on the back foot, and that's where you really need to have the execution to go along with your composure. Because again, anyone can strategize, but can you keep it together when it's mattered most?
The ever-familiar drum and guitar riff welcomes us to the first game of the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022.
First game, all right.
Let's get set to pump some iron at Muscle Forge Fitness as we get set. Taking a look at these loadouts here at 9, what stands out at this current state?
Well, we said right off the bat that Cherry Limeade was going to throw something at you that you weren't familiar with, and how about this? Pika, who has been pioneering the Blob Lobber since it first came out, is one of the best pilots of it at this level. It's a weapon that's very difficult to deal with if you aren't familiar with what that chip damage looks like. Although right now, after an early takes, it looks like Ryu found the answer they were looking for.
Exactly that, 9. Ryu able to get the 4-1 advantage for a moment against Cherry Limeade. Now, Milana, Cherry Limeade, you're on that back tentacle. What do you have to do here to try and reclaim this zone?
We're seeing it right now. We see Shiny popping those bubbles and really just utilizing those bubbles to try to take the zone. Unfortunately, it's not quite enough. Maybe if they had combined just maybe 1 or 2 more specials along with that, that would have been a little bit more successful.
Okay.
Finally, Cherry Limeade able to reclaim the zone. Here is Prim. Right now, just eyeing the zone, inking it, trying to provide a little bit of support for their team, dodging these Tenta missiles, but right back at it. Ryu
Whoa,
claiming the
oh
zone
my
here now.
gosh.
Yeah, and that was actually a great job. You saw that they had sent Lily off to the right side of the screen.
It's actually
to try to
close.
make a play there and attack.
It's actually closer than ever.
It does look as though we have a disconnect here for one of the teams. It does look like one of Ryu's players DC'd, so that's why you see them sitting about here. But it was a really good take back. Whenever you have a situation where you've thrown 2 bubbles at the opponent and they manage to not get taken down and not give up the zone, it typically means that they were ready for it and that they found their way around it and that specials aren't going to be enough. So that time you saw that they had split it up ever so slightly. So it'll be interesting to see here what that adaptation looks like as the game goes on.
And per the tournament rules, if there is a disconnect after 5 seconds of action, you continue with the game. So Cherry Limeade, a bit of fortunate luck. They'll go ahead and take this first game, but it's part of the realities here. And so Cherry Limeade, we saw the
Cherry Limeade won because one of Ryu's players disconnected.
They did a great job of getting back and reclaiming the zone by timing up some of their specials together as they will take the first game courtesy that DC.
Yeah, I think one of Cherry Limeade's greatest strength is, like Nine said, their composure. Just being able to, you know, have their head on straight.
Yeah, these guys got so lucky because.
So the game does count here, Nine. So Cherry Limeade getting on the board, 1-0 advantage over Ryu.
All right, nice.
Ryu, a little bit of bad luck right there, Nine. How do you recompose yourself and get set for the next round here, knowing that you kind of just dug yourself an 0-1 hole?
Well, you get the counter pick, and that's always nice, using the system you talked about earlier, but by the same token, you know it is one game, and you can give another one to the opponent as well if necessary, and you have to feel confident that you were at least pacing even with them, maybe pacing ahead. If you're able to hold the zone through a double bubble blower push, that means clearly you're confident. So, again, this team has seen everything here. They understand this is a part of it. It's a reality of online gaming. They'll be back, and I expect to see a great game from them here.
All right.
And that's the
we'll
thing,
see.
Milana.
We'll see if it's going to be a great game or
from that matchup because the
Cherry
DC happened
Limeade
rather
will
early
take
into
the
it.
dub, or
But looking
Ryu
at
might come
the
back.
comps of both these teams, Cherry Limeade is a bit of a unconventional build, and sometimes when you get to these high-level
Guys, let
players,
me
you have
go
people that
from
go
this
with the
cord
flow
over
of the
here.
meta,
I don't know
others
if you
that
see, but there's a
wanna swim
cord.
upstream against
I
it.
don't know if it's
How do you
blocking
go
it.
and form a team
If it is,
comp
I just
that'll
moved
be
it.
anti-meta
And I'm
at
sorry
this
if it
point
was
in
blocking
Splatoon
it.
2's lifespan.
I know, having spoken to Cherry Limeade, they do go into what we call the lab a lot, and what they do there is they pick a lot of different kinds of weapons, and they try it. They try unconventional methods of playing those weapons. We even saw Shiny playing I believe the custom E-Leader, which is not usually a common pick, especially for a high-level competitive play, given that it has bubbles instead of rain. And, you know, we see Shiny using it really, really well. So being able to go into the lab and try different things and using just an unconventional way of thinking is probably their biggest strength.
Probably.
And Nine, when you look at, obviously, these comps, we see a lot of common weapons amongst these comps, but even with the specials, what's the goal of the specials when so many of these teams are built upon aggressive one-on-one play with shooters and mobility?
Yeah, I think it partially depends on what special you're referring to here, but a lot of it, especially when it comes to zones, is displacement. And we've used that word a lot here, but essentially when you are running a comp that has so many shooters, if they're away from the objective, they don't really get to do a whole lot. They have to swim away, they have to swim back. Of course, they don't have a ton of range. That's, you know, part of the flaw, but also why they're so fast. But that's really the goal, is you get people away from the zone, you scatter them so that they can't team up again, they're easier to identify where they're coming from, they're easier to rotate to, and they're easier to pick off. So when you see them throw 2 bubble blowers at the same time, or a set of Tenta missiles alongside an ink armor timed up with it, really it's all predicated on spreading the opponent out so they're that much easier to deal with. Divide and conquer, who knew?
Hey, it sounds great, because this displacement here, Milana, it's all about getting that numbers advantage. That's when you can push objective, because it's really hard 4v4 to push the objective against these very, very skilled teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by being able to kind of quarter the enemy team a little bit, and maybe taking one of your accomplices with you to get those splats, it definitely makes it a lot easier to be able to get that turf control and to be able to push back into the objective.
Yeah.
And with Splat Zones 9, a lot of high-level competitive players know this, but folks that are maybe dipping their toe into the competitive ink pools here, it's not just about securing the zone. Successful teams are then able to extend beyond that zone and apply that pressure on the other team, which then kind of puts that other team in double jeopardy because they've got
Yeah,
more than one
double
thing to be
jeopardy
concerned
for
about
sure.
at that point.
Yeah, the thing that you don't want to be is passive, right? I mean, you can play, defensive, you can play aggressive, you can rotate around, whatever you want to do, just make sure you're active as you're doing it. If you take the zone, sit near the zone and wait for the opponent to come to you at this level, that's not going to work. They're going to build up their specials, they're going to identify where the defenders are, and they're going to come back in. You can use that time after you've taken the zone to push forward, build your special. After you've built your special, then maybe you can rotate back.
Yeah, maybe,
but
maybe.
use the time that you have wisely, because once the fights start, you're not going to get a moment's rest.
And you really won't, and we see teams fall into this sometimes, Milana, especially as they're learning to work together as a team. When you are on the defensive and trying to reclaim the zone, that is when, more than ever, you really have to communicate and make sure everybody's in sync, because if you try to go one-on-one at that point, that's when the game can really spiral out of control.
Yeah.
Like you said, communication is key. And, being able to communicate well with your teammates and put your intentions out forward is super, super important.
Yeah, very important.
Clam Blitz, Port Mackerel. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling here. Fortunately, in Inkopolis, inflation is yet to strike, so it's still 10 clams for Power Clam. Nothing has changed there, but a game mode here, 9, where there are a variety of things that you can do, but controlling the turf and having the majority of the clams is still one of the top 2 things you're looking for as a team.
It is, and this is such an interesting map to play Clam Blitz on as well, because typically when people talk about Clam Blitz, it's about overall wide map control. Some people say you almost play Turf War in order to control it, but this map really makes it a much more narrow game here. Of course, you've got the alleys that you have to control. If you have range, you can deal with that, as Kiwi gets an incredible shot onto Shiny, and already they just need one more Clam here on top. They have enough. Can they score them both? It looks like maybe not. Kiwi's still there. They need one more Clam. Can they find it? What an emphatic victory. Jordan, you asked me if they were going to be able to bring it back in that second game.
What a victory! Oh my gosh.
Haymaker as soon as the bell rings. How about Ryu coming right down the hatch? And
Yo, holy crap. Ryu with the KO bell ringer. Wow. Unfortunately, Cherry Limeade was not able to find the double kill and find whatever they needed.
You really can't script it any better than
So
that.
unfortunately, because they didn't, Ryu got the dub, and now they're tied up at
Watching
1.
them being able to hold that basket and being able to prevent Cherry Limeade from pushing back in. I think that's going to be maybe a tough one for Cherry Limeade to
Yeah,
recover
very
from.
tough. No way, dude.
So
No
Ryu,
way it was
after
easy.
losing the first game because of a disconnect, answers back and wins Clam Blitz on Port Mackerel in less than 30 seconds. So if you blinked, you missed it. We're now 1-1 as we get set for
All right,
the third game
1-1
here.
time.
Let's talk about responding here, 9. If you are Cherry Limeade, you just got blitzed in no pun intended.
Yeah,
Now
they
you're
lasted like 30
reset
seconds
and
of
ready
that.
to go here for game 3 when you really didn't have anything
They
to
lasted
show
like
there.
30 seconds of that, and Cherry
First of all, I don't
Limeade
believe that
got
was no pun intended. I
destroyed.
refuse to believe it.
I'm
But
sorry. Not sorry.
it's a
Cherry
great
Limeade,
question
like,
because
got
Clam Blitz
nearly
is Cherry
destroyed.
Limeade's
Like,
go-to
literally
mode. It always
nearly.
has been. They've been kind of pioneers of that, even when they were separate players before they came together. So were that any other mode, I would say, well, they've got Clam Blitz to go to. Now, as it stands, you lose a game in that fashion. Okay, sometimes it's the map, it's hard to get back in, but there was a pacing problem in that. It was neutral at the start, and then they did start to feed in and get taken out. So first and foremost, they have to take a moment here to take a breath.
Oh
And then
my
it's going to be,
God.
I think, a difficult pick because
I still
both of
can't
their
believe
favorite
how
modes are
crazy
already
that fight
out.
was.
Do they want Rainmaker to try to outpace them,
Cherry
or do they
Limeade
go for a
made
much more fight-heavy
literally
comp,
one
try
step
go
to
for
getting,
tower
I
control,
forgot
and
what
it's
it
not gonna
was
be an
now,
easy
but
answer.
they were one step
And
getting
Milana, that
closer
last
to
game
what they
shows you
needed.
just how important specials
But
are
then they
when you
did
are
not
in a
need it as one of their
defensive
players
position,
fell.
because Cherry
One
Limeade
of
didn't
the
even
players-
have time to build up an initial special. I think
Yeah,
if you look at
they
the
had
stats
no
that they
time.
needed to
No
get
one
there,
had time,
There's not a whole lot
actually.
you can do
They only
coming
lasted
back
like
from spawn
30
and trying
seconds.
to knock the team out of your territory when they were just filling up the basket with clams.
I think, in particular, Port
They were
Mackerel
one
has
step
a little bit
closer
of a unique
until one
problem
of
in
their
that
players
there's really not that
lost-
much curve as you're
lost
moving
it,
out
and
from
then-
the spawn. So
then
in reality,
we got
it's
the
a little
double
difficult for
KO.
Cherry Limeade to build up those specials. So sometimes you might face a map that just, sometimes it's just, you have to face off those 1v1s and get those picks to be able to move back into mid.
Yeah.
So as you mentioned, 9, it'll be tower control, Rainmaker, or potentially Turf War as we get set here. But Now for Cherry Limeade, do you make any wholesale changes in your team comp, or do you just chop that up to, you know what? Every once in a while, even Michael Jordan has an air ball.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for most teams, I would say you don't go wholesale. You go with what brought you here. But Cherry Limeade is known for changing up their comp wholesale. Really, they only
are
maybe
actually
one
very
or two
are.
of their
They
players
change
who
up a
stick
lot
with
of
one
things,
weapon
not just
consistently.
comp
So
wholesale.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had planned for this map and mode, whichever one it's going to end up
Cherry
being here, and they have a comp designed exactly for it. Now, on the other side, of course, Ryu probably isn't going to change a thing. Even if they lost that game, I don't think they would have changed a thing. And
Yeah, I know,
a
right?
Record.
Right, yeah,
Limeade
maybe that.
changes everything.
Hey, never enough of those. But
Right.
I mean, it's so important. I think that if you are going to make a wholesale change, right, that you understand that you have to live or die with that decision. Because, I mean, again, the way that game ended is so difficult to stomach. We can say stay composed or take a breath here, but there's, like you said, really no information that you can take from that.
So as they get set here, let's assume it's Rainmaker here, Milana. We're just taking a wild guess as we get ready for them to get rolling here soon. With Rainmaker, it's another
after
game
the
that
next
can
game,
end
I'm probably
very
going to be
quickly
AFK.
If you lose neutral,
Because,
as we like to say, in the
Like I
beginning,
said, I can't sit here
anything
for
you feel
that
like
long.
Cherry Limeade needs to be a
I
little
mean,
bit
we're
more
already 31
prepared
minutes and
for
6
when
seconds
they come
in.
out the gate against such an aggressive team in Rio.
So I think I'm going to be...
I think if it is going to be Rainmaker, it's going to be a difficult time for Cherry Limeade to push back because, you know, Ryu just plays, like you said, such an aggressive comp. Very
Ryu's so
fast-paced,
aggressive. They
and,
play...
You know, Rainmaker is probably the best mode for a comp like that. So I think Cherry Limeade is really going to have to make those picks count.
Exactly.
And with the available game modes still to play here, 9, how important is a good start in, let's say, tower control? Does it still have the same weight as Rainmaker, or in tower control do you have a little bit more time because of those checkpoints and because of how long it takes to get the objective?
How long? When is it going to be till the next
Yeah,
game?
it's certainly a lead feels much safer in tower control, right?
Oh,
There's
it's not going to be
disputing
until a
that with
long time.
Rainmaker,
Oh, actually, no, it's
people
only
go
3 minutes
down
till the
and
next
a
game.
free
Okay.
suction bomb that lands in the middle. Your last
still got
person's
another
off on the
hour,
side,
42
fight,
minutes
or
to
doing
go.
Whatever they are. And you lose the lead after you've been winning for 4 minutes. Certainly the lead feels safer in tower control. So I would say, kind of to Milana's point, and I would agree, the speed of Ryu is going to make it very difficult for them to keep pace. And Cherry Limeade, for all of their strategizing that they go to, they don't really have a true 3-shooter speed comp. It's just not what they're geared for. It's not what they're comfortable with. And certainly pulling that out now, I think, would be ill-advised, even for mad scientists like them. So I would expect to see tower control here. Probably try to go for a more measured pick. Maybe put Shiny on a Stingray weapon and try to play that mode that has been maybe the most developed and most controversial as this has come out.
And Milana, you obviously talk to so many members of the
controversial.
community, and for folks, as you said earlier, that
This
are
is gonna
maybe
be the most
thinking about getting into
controversial thing
competitive play,
ever.
how do most of these teams form? Because we said there are some fresh faces here. How do they even get the ball rolling with starting a team and then eventually and hopefully getting to this point?
You know, my biggest advice for people who are wanting to get into competitive play is to just find people that you like playing with. Because once you like find people that you kind of mesh with, that you vibe with, then it really becomes a matter of being able to practice and to just work together, and you kind of build a relationship outside of being a team. Just
He's a freaking genius, bro.
So,
I would have
you know,
never
just
known that.
Grab your friends, grab your partners, and just play some Splatoon.
Yeah,
It obviously takes a lot of
Nintendo is
practice at that
genius.
point, Nine, because
These
it's
guys
more
are
than
so
just putting
genius.
4 very skilled players
unbelievable.
together. It's about everybody understanding their role and playing to their strengths, I imagine. And then at that point, it's deciding what type of team you eventually want to be.
Yeah, 4 skilled players will get you far. I mean, it really will. If everyone is able to do their job individually, you'll find yourself beating some strong teams. Again, when it does come time to be composed, if you're good at the game, you're good at the game. But as you start to really peak into the upper echelon here and really start to take on some of these top teams in various Splatoon majors, you'll start to notice that it feels like you're always fighting 2 of them, or always fighting 3 of them, or you take one down and suddenly 3 of them jump on top of you and you say, how is that possible? And then you start to understand what really makes people good at this game, which is the synergy, the ability to move around,
definitely the
ability to
synergy.
understand that my teammate has moved right, so I need to move to the mid. And that's without any form of communication whatsoever. They're just so good at doing just that. And I think it's really intimidating when you come back and see that for the first time.
Maps can be reused, we also want to reiterate, so we might see another map pop up here, but you have to go through all the modes once before you get a chance to repeat the game modes as well too. And it sounds like we are getting set for our third game, and yes, that familiar sound once again will cue us in. We're going back to Muscle Forge Fitness, and 9, you called it. Little tower control, and since you usually hang out on the rock climbing wall yourself, tell us a little bit more.
All right,
about
1-1. Cherry Limeade 1.
Yeah, I've actually got a great
Ryu 1.
vantage point here from the top.
After
of the
this,
wall.
I'm probably
So
gonna be
that
AFK
this
for a
is
minute.
one of those maps where the first checkpoint does.
Because like I said,
go
I can't
pretty
sit here
quick
for a
here.
full
You can
2
see it
hours.
actually just to the right of Ricky here, who's now standing basically on top of it.
And also, I'm
That
just
one does
reacting to
typically
it.
go
I'm not
when
playing
only one
it.
or two members go down. But once that second checkpoint goes down, you have this gulch area here that almost provides its own natural coverage and can make those pushes get really far, really fast.
Yeah.
And you see Ricky trying to apply a little bit of pressure on the backliner, and oh, how about the surprise from behind right there, Milana?
Oh my.
That was a really sneaky maneuver by Ricky. Unfortunately, getting taken out by Prim, but that was a huge pick to be able to
That
take
was
out
huge.
that backliner, and it might even prime them
Dude,
for
I
first.
literally got goosebumps
Did you
from
see
that
the
play.
initial tower control?
I'm also
goes
getting
the way of
goosebumps. It's
Ryu,
also
trying
very
to get
cold
that
down
first
here.
checkpoint,
Because I'm in the basement.
slowly
This
but
is where I
surely
usually film
hanging out at 88.
all my
Here
videos.
is Krim trying to
Usually
get
where I
out of the
film my
muck, working
videos
their
from
way
the
around,
computer.
dropping an 8
If not, then I film
Still
at
for
my
that first
grandparents'
checkpoint.
house. Or
Finally there
sometimes,
for Rio as they look to clear
sometimes
it.
very,
Right now 9,
very,
even on
very
the field,
little.
3-3,
Sometimes in
but
my
Ryu
bedroom.
just solidly trying to build this lead at this point.
Yeah, that was actually a nice little microcosm there that can kind of tell the story of the match. You saw that Krim was in that gulch area after getting that pick, and really for a good little period of time there was rotating back and forth, not entirely sure where to go, not entirely sure where the attack was from, and because these Glugadoolies don't have a projectile sub, there wasn't really anything that could be done.
They need if you have a projectile, then you have a gun. No projectile, then I think you're pretty much screwed.
And Milana, we see Krim and the rest of Cherry Limeade trying to be an unwelcome.
Don't you guys think we need a projectile sub?
The second checkpoint, but Ryu doing
Yeah,
an
we need
excellent job here,
any
Milana,
projectile,
of
you'll
fighting
be
through
fine.
all of these specials.
Oh my god, this is the
Ryu
closest game we
doing
had
an
yet.
awesome job holding on to that tower. Miku hopping onto that tower for a quick moment, and a lead to 13 is really nothing to scoff at.
And they lost the
So an
tower.
early advantage for Ryu. You just saw how well they handled the assault coming here from Cherry Limeade. Now 9 at this point. Ryu, are you still aggressive, or do you try to shift to more of a defensive focus?
Well, when you have this type of lead, you can afford to lose 2, even 3 full-on
That is
team
true.
fights
You
here.
can
But as
lose
Kiwi
lots.
gets an incredible shot
You can
at the
lose
very
lots
tip
at this
top of
point.
Krim's head there. And now going again, you can see here that they just seem to have Cherry Limeade separated. There hasn't been a moment where 2 or 3 Cherry Limeade members have been able to close in on one opponent. They just haven't quite been able to keep this pace, and frankly, the comp that they're using is going to have a difficult time fighting, even if they do get in those positions.
You see Kiwi anchoring the backbone of Ryu as they do a solid job of just maintaining position. Let's check in on Shiny. Shiny trying to advance a little bit forward. They're going to hop on the tower. Cherry Limeade just trying to get on the board as they slowly approach the first checkpoint, but a little bit of pressure coming here from Ryu. That's going to chase Shiny off the tower. And now, once again, Cherry Limeade, they're spread out at this point here, Milana.
And like you said, power in numbers. I think at that moment, it would have been really, really great if Shiny had somebody, a teammate, just to kind of cover their back a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
teammate would have been good.
We see a lot of that happening from Ryu. We need to see a little bit more of it happening from Cherry Limeade.
Oh.
Briefly, it was 4-2-9, so here is that opportunity for
Ryu
that
might
push from
do it.
Cherry
Ryu-
Limeade. Ryu going to have to be really on point as Cherry
Yeah,
Limeade is starting
Ryu's
to clear
probably
the
gonna do it.
second checkpoint.
Yep, and they use all of their specials to get it done.
Oh yeah,
here.
Ryu's
So
gonna
the
do
push
it.
not
Cherry
quite
Limeade's
done here,
done.
but finally
Ryu's
someone
definitely
does
gonna
jump
do
on
it.
the back, and I think that's the last potential tower rider here. But that was finally the moment where they actually did team up together. There, you saw a couple people go ahead of the
did
tower.
team up,
And
actually.
one thing that Cherry Limeade's comp is very good at is chip damage. That's what that blob is known for. You can put maybe 30 damage, 50 damage, 70 damage without even knowing that you've done it. So if you get the opponent pushed back, that's where this comp can really take advantage. And now it's going to be that much easier for them if they get another push going.
1 minute
Here
left.
it is, 4-2, Rio with the advantage. And this feels like a critical moment in the game here, Milana, because with under a minute left, Cherry Limeade is going to have to use a lot of resources to
Yeah, they
refight.
need lots of resources,
Yeah,
otherwise
the
they're done,
pressure is
and Ryu
probably
wins.
mounting quite
But
quite
they
a bit
probably
for
ain't
Cherry
gonna do
Limeade.
that. I
But
think
you see
Ryu's
that
got
Ryu
it.
isn't really trying to push that tower any farther than it has to go. They're doing a lot of focus on turfing and making sure that Cherry Limeade cannot make a push back into it.
tower resetting to neutral. 30 seconds left. Krim, how about the pick with the inkjet? That's going to be an opportunity for Cherry Limeade to open the window here, 9.
Oh, yeah, the doors are open for Cherry Limeade. Now they can't screw this up.
Very heady play by Meatloaf to understand, hey, we lost the middle of the map, but there's only 15 seconds left. If I take one of them out and then jump out, I will have done my job to take the teeth out of this attack. And now that's a lot of their specials gone already. They weren't able to get solid control of mid. This would be a miraculous push if it went the distance.
And we're in overtime, but here is Meatloaf holding it down. Meatloaf, they would do anything for tower control.
Oh my God, Meatloaf with the KO.
Courtesy that initial push.
Ryu takes a dub. Meatloaf with the KO on the Cherry Limeade tower. And Ryu takes the dub as they win 2-1 against Cherry Limeade.
Because if they did get that early lead, then the mobility advantage that Ryu had on them.
Alright, so guys, I'm going to be AFK for a moment. But oh my God, that game was insane.
More difficult to actually get a sustained.
So guys, I'm going to be AFK for a moment. So guys, I'll see you in about maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes. Maybe about 4 minutes. I'll see you in about 4 minutes.
What was a double, Krim got that incredible shot. Meatloaf saying, okay, my team is down. Let me at least take out one person here, throw my ink armor, jump back in, and that should be enough to mitigate the potential or the losses that we sustained in that fight.
And another game here, Milana, with Ryu, where their opening push either gave them a knockout or essentially was the winning play, because we saw their very first push got to 13. You called it out. That completely changes the perception of the game moving forward when you've got that type of lead.
Yeah, so when you have that type of lead, you might opt to play a little bit safer, especially on a mode that's not quite as fast as Rainmaker, a mode like Tower Control. So by just having that just room to breathe, I think is really, it's good for the mindset. It's good for going into the game as well.
Margin is very important for everybody in every phase of life. So as we get set for Rainmaker here, 9, of course, this could be another very fast-paced game, which is played well to the advantage of Ryu. If you're Cherry Limeade, it feels like all the conversation should be about how do we sustain that first initial push coming in from Ryu.
Yeah, they've really lost fights at the beginning, and we've talked about this a lot on previous casts, Jordan, but the beginning of the game is the one time where everyone's specials start out equal, which is they start at 0. And for those of you maybe unaware, you lose a significant portion of your special meter when you get splatted. At the beginning of the game, in those first fights, everyone's special meter is a little bit lower, which is why you see some of those early pushes go the distance, because they have that much more time that they have to take in order to build up their specials for the defense. So, to that note, for Cherry Limeade, maybe you have to play a little bit more passive at the start. Maybe it's playing passive that's gotten you into these positions. But I agree entirely. The tail of the tape is there. It's been those early pushes in the opening. You've been able to play the game pretty well after that, but it's just been too big of a hurdle to overcome.
And that's what it feels like, Milana. If you're Cherry Limeade, maybe you go back to Splatoon 101 basics. Ink turf, build up special, make sure you stay far enough away from Ryu to where you at least have a chance to engage with them with the special. We've seen over the last 2 games, as long as Cherry Limeade has specials, they can go toe-to-toe with Ryu. If it's just neutral, it's been Ryu 2-0 in the last 2 games.
But you know, Cherry Limeade is probably one of the best teams in this top 4 to be able to turf and to be able to paint. They came out first in the ladder just from playing Turf Wars, so they are certainly capable of building those specials and pushing back in, so don't count them out yet.
No, you really can't, and we saw again, even though there's excellent marksmanship from that inkjet, eventually just having players in the right position and being able to take advantage of a 2-for-1 or a 1-for-2 situation, 9, that was huge, and we saw that for Meatloaf in the final 15 to 30 seconds of that last game.
Yeah, and Milana hit on this earlier, but that's one of the benefits and one of the reasons why we've seen so many shooters come in, because, well, they don't excel at any one thing aside from, you know, turfing and building special, which I guess is a pretty significant thing. It's also a weapon
kind of the backbone.
That's maybe. It's also a weapon that's never really in a bad position. Surely, if you get cornered and 2 people are firing at you, that's a bad position for any weapon to be in, but you can find yourself in positions where you can sneak over and attack an opponent. You're just mobile enough, and in a lot of those one-on-ones with them in those awkward positions, you're going to get a victory.
Okay, guys, I'm back.
Rainmaker, Sturgeon Shipyard. So let's go ahead, dock up. watch how
Oh,
Ryu will try to
Cherry
advance to
Limeade, Ryu
finals.
again?
They're up
Oh, they're
2-1
going
and
again? Okay.
Milana. Looking at this map with Rainmaker, what are some of the routes that you really have to be mindful of?
Meatloaf, he was the MVP last game. He made Ryu
one. You
one.
can go pretty much one of many routes, but you can go to the left. I have trouble with my left and right sometimes. I like that. But so you can take the route to the left on top of the block into the enemy base, or you can opt to go up the sponge, kind of down mid. So, and you know, Meatloaf is really getting those picks on Cherry Limeade and just showing you that, you know.
Oh my god, dude, I feel so bad for Cherry Limeade.
Pretty aggressively.
Meatloaf serving up some calamari here in the first minute and 9. Once again, Cherry Limeade tried to be aggressive. They tried to go for the Rainmaker. Ryu just sniffed that out early on.
Yeah, and I mean, Meatloaf going all the way around there, that flank only works if you're confident that your team can slow down the push. And I believe it was a delayed quad that ended up being there, but again, all of it was predicated on good timing and being able to push out and understanding where the opponent was coming from. So it's more of the same here, a really early push, but credit Cherry Limeade there, whether it was because they were staggered and not fully taken out, they were able to build up enough specials to slow this down, and now Shiny's in a great position to ensure that this jump isn't
Shiny
made
is
serious gusto.
wow.
And
What
can
a
see how
position
Cherry
for
Limeade
Shiny.
able to really balance things back out after Ryu seemed to really have the advantage. Now it's 4-3 on the field for Ryu, but Cherry Limeade has done what they haven't done in the last 2 games here, Milana, and that is get to a point where they just didn't get dominated in the early minutes.
Yeah, and you know, we do love to see it. We love to see that back and forth, especially on a mode that can go as quickly as Rainmaker. Shiny kind of putting themselves in a little bit of a precarious situation right here, but you know, backing up just enough to be able to get their key support.
Cherry Limeade has a
Shiny trying to apply a little bit
Rainmaker.
of pressure. Here comes that suction bomb launcher along with
Oh,
the
Shiny-
E-Storm. Here comes
Cherry Limeade might have a chance, actually.
On the field, this is Cherry Limeade trying to be aggressive yet again with just 2:40 left here, 9.
Cherry Limeade
Yeah,
might
and you
do
see
it.
immediately
They might
turn
do
back
it,
around, not
actually.
wanting to get flanked out, but look at this. Now there's maybe too many people looking over at the left. That allowed missiles to
Whoa!
move. Kiwi's gonna have an
Oh,
opportunity
yeah,
to push
Cherry
in
Limeade
and
actually
take
has
out
a
one of the
big
defenders.
chance.
It is Kiwi. That's a huge pick. Can they find another one here?
Oh, they took the
More
lead.
damage gets another. Can they find
They
a
get
third?
another cannon.
Carver just barely keeping them sustained. But they might be able to keep this going even more. You see, they're not picking it up.
Yeah, they have
Just
so
yet
many
trying to
rain
wait
nerves,
and see if the opponents
and they
will
have the
run
lead
into
right
them.
now.
42, and finally, after a rough spread of 2 games, Cherry Limeade with a nice push and a nice lead.
Titanic effort by Cherry Limeade.
Cherry
down
Limeade
the
at the
stretch
lead.
area,
It
able
is
to
currently
get the
2-1
lead here. Now at this
Ryu.
point, something that Cherry
Cherry
Limeade
Limeade
hasn't
need
had
a
to do in
big
couple
one
of games here,
to
Milana.
win
That is
the
play a little bit of defense because you see 2
full
specials ready to
tournament.
go for Ryu.
But you know,
But
Jordan, we saw earlier in this
Ryu
match that
needs a
Cherry
big one
Limeade
to win this game.
is pretty good at playing
So far,
defense.
Cherry
They were able
Limeade's
to
in
slow
the
that push
lead.
down, but, you know,
They've
as
been
I'm
really
saying that,
aggressive, and
they
especially
do
they had.
suffer from
Oh,
defense,
they
and
lost
this
the
is
lead.
this
Ryu
is
with the lead, and that is
Sean,
game.
baby, that is a 4-0 wipe to close out
What
this,
the
and Ryu
hell?
will go ahead and move on to
Oh, that is a
finals,
4-0
courtesy
closeout.
3-1
That
and
is a
9.
KO
Just an
for
unbelievable
Ryu. His 3-1 Ryu. Cherry Limeade had a very big lead going towards the end of the game. And then clearly,
Absolutely.
Ryu
And as Kiwi pulled
won.
out those missiles, whenever you pull out missiles,
unbelievable
it
game.
isn't often that
It
as
was
soon as you pull them out,
unbelievable.
all 4 people are in your red.
I'm pretty sure
Usually you have to
Ryu
look a little bit
would have been
left,
4-0
look a little bit right to try to
if
see where the
they
opponents
didn't-
are.
if they
all
didn't
4 of them
disconnect.
are
If
right
they-
in your reticle
If
when
they
you
didn't
first pull it
disconnect,
out, that
they
means
probably
one
would have been
thing,
4-0.
they're punched up.
Cherry Limeade
really,
is
really
done.
hard they're punched up, and I believe
Cherry
it was
Limeade
Pika
is
and
done
Lily
for.
who both went down almost
This is
immediately right next to each
unbelievable.
other. So that tells me maybe a little bit of mispositioning there. That was a quick wipe that happened, and frankly, I'm not even sure that it was that coordinated of an attack. I think
No,
once
it
those 2
wasn't
went
at
down,
all.
it was 4-2, and the walls came tumbling down, as they say.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the updated bracket as Ryu will punch their ticket to finals, and they'll get set to take on the winner of Lyrical Lemonade or Jackpot. But Ryu
Okay.
really winning.
So
that
the
semifinal
semifinals,
round
so
in dominant
Ryu
fashion. They had the
has a
disconnect in the
chance.
first game. That's how
So
Cherry Limeade
Ryu
was
got a
defeated
chance
in
to
one
go
game.
to the
So
finals, guys.
Ryu get a chance to sit
So
back, relax,
now
and see
Ryu
what
is in the
plays out
finals.
in the
Now
other
Lyrical
semifinal.
Lemonade
We'll go ahead
and
take a
Jackpot
moment to step
will
aside
play
in just
each
a second,
other,
but before we
and
get
then
to
the
that,
winner
I'd like
of
to let
those
you know
two
that
will
Play
go
Versus
to
is
the
Nintendo's
finals to play
official
Ryu,
Scholastic partner for
and then
Super
whoever
Smash
wins
Bros.
the
Ultimate,
finals, which is
Splatoon
best out
2,
of
and
7,
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe,
then
where thousands of high school players will
Lyric
compete
Lemonade and
for a
Jackpot,
championship title.
that's the
Players can
semifinals,
now
is
earn
best
a
out of
varsity
5.
ladder
The
by
finals
gaming
is
with
best
their
out of
friends.
7.
You can
Whoever
sign
wins
up
the
now
finals
to learn more about the
wins
fall
the
season
event
at
1
www.playversus.com.
of the Splatoon 2
Spread the word
Inkopolis
your
Showdown.
and prepare to play in the
So,
fall season for 2023.
who's going to
Again,
win? Is it
that's
going to be Ryu, Lyric Lemonade, or
www.playversus.com.
Jackpot?
All right, second set of semifinals coming up after the break. We'll see who will advance to take on Ryu in grand finals as we continue along in the Splatoon 2
And also,
Inkopolis Showdown.
after the finals, after the best out of 7 finals, the vid is pretty much done.
Whether it's to play your favorite game,
Oh, this is an ad. It's a Nintendo ad. Wait, is this the video or not? Oh, this is a video.
play for school pride,
You can play for school club?
or for the thrill of competition. Play competitively with Play Versus. Visit playvs.com today for more information.
Okay. Smash Bros. Ultimate. This an actual ad?
In this house,
This is Switch Sports.
we rule.
Nice.
Here we go.
In their house, we duel.
KO. At the time, this was
We score.
At the time, this was a very new game coming out. It's now already released, and so many people have been playing it, and it's so good.
And we love a little competition.
Whoa!
Oh, it's okay. You got it next time. You got it next time.
Ready? Whether it's with family, friends, or rivals near and far.
This is the end. Block, block, block.
So whichever sport you choose, victory could be just within reach.
Nice.
You ready to play? Nintendo Switch Sports. Available now only on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, it's available now at that time? Okay.
Brave warriors of Adrestia, the time has come to demonstrate.
Oh, this is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Oh, let's go. This movie, I've seen so many trailers and stuff. I've even seen a little bit of the gameplay. This game is actually a very good game. I'm probably not gonna order it though because I'm not that much of a Fire Emblem guy. But I know this is a very, very great game. It's super fun. I'm just probably not gonna order it.
I have to keep fighting.
Be the Virgin Pack. You know what? I don't think I need to react to this because I already seen a lot of this. But I'm gonna be AFK again, actually. This probably might be either the last or second last time I'll be AFK. No, probably the second last because we still got another, hold on. We still got another hour, 20 minutes in this video, so I'm probably just gonna be AFK for.
Try to keep up. Back at you.
I'm gonna stay in the basement, but I'm not gonna react to it.
The best way to honor my fallen comrades is by training hard and growing even stronger. Where do these powers come from?
Power itself is neutral. The good or evil comes from the one who wields it.
One day that sword might overtake me, and I'll turn into a monster. Not so fast, you two.
Defeating the Ashen Demon. Everything starts from there. My dear partner in destiny. Like it's something we were meant to do.
I'll let my sword do the talking. When I cut the Ashen Demon down,
Wait, what's this? Something else is happening. Inkopolis Showdown, Splatoon. Oh, is this the finals? You know, this is still going on. Okay, whatever it is. Okay, so it still says that it's starting soon. So I am a little concerned, actually. You know what I think we should do? You know what? Let's actually look at the other events. So guys, while we wait for this to pop up, I'm going to do a split screen so we know when it will pop up because I don't want to miss it. I don't know if you guys want to as well. Why don't we, by the time, why don't we go check out the, get an actually very, very, very good YouTuber. Why don't we go check out myself? Nice. Yeah, your Splatoon music. Some nice Splatoon music. So let's check out my channel, guys. Okay, we're actually back on. Sorry.
And welcome back to the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022. Jordan Kent alongside here with 9 and Milana. And we just got done with semifinal round 1. Let's go ahead and check out the bracket and see semifinal round 2.
Yeah, let's see it round 2.
Jackpot against Lyrical Lemonade as we find out who will face off against Ryu in grand finals. And 9, tell us a little bit more about Jackpot, a team that you have pegged as potentially the favorite in this tournament.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Jackpot's
They
a favorite.
about
It's
as
a
strong
very
as
big
it gets
favorite,
in terms
actually.
of the accolades.
I don't know if you guys know
right
it,
here.
but it
This has
is
been
a
a
very
team
big
that
favorite.
certain variants of it have placed top 1, top 2, top 3 at tournaments that have even featured some of our heaviest hitters here. So to say that they have accolades would be an understatement. And they've been able to do it over a lot of different metas by being comfortable with what they use. Leafy, Legend, Jared, Madness, and .Q, if necessary, have been pushing their respective weapons for years now, and they have absolutely earned all of the praise they're getting today.
And let's check out the rule set once again for semifinal 2 as we
All
get
right.
set between Jackpot and Lyrical Lemonade. You're going to have the 4 game modes: Rainmaker, Clam Blitz, Tower Control, Splat Zones, and then, of course, the team with the lower seed will choose the mode for the first game. The other team will choose the stage. After the first game, the losing team will choose the mode for the next game, and the winner will choose the stage. And those are your stages: Walleye Warehouse, Sturgeon Shipyard, Port Mackerel, Missile Forge Fitness, New Albacore Hotel. Of course, a stage can be repeated. You must go through all 4 game modes before you repeat them. So Milana, Jackpot, a team that is very good, very aggressive, especially in one-on-one situations.
Jackpot's aggressive,
Lyrical
yeah.
Lemonade,
These guys are very aggressive.
Try to offset this to give
Jackpot
yourself
actually
a
might win it all.
significant chance.
They
in
might
this
beat
matchup.
Wii U Jackpot. There's actually a very good
Looking
chance
at
they
Lyrical
might beat Wii U.
Lemonade's, weapons that they might use for this next match, I kind of expect that maybe they could take a little bit of a sneaky approach, so that you let Jackpot have their aggression. You know that they play at the top levels, at the top of their game, but maybe you can kind of get those flanks in and be able to pincer some of those members of Jackpot to kind of give yourself an advantage.
In 9, as we saw in the last semifinal between Ryu and Cherry Limeade, the start was very important, and you have to make sure, especially against a talented team like Jackpot, you don't give them the early advantage, the early lead when you don't have specials to return fire. You want to really make sure you extend that neutral for as long as possible in each game.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
easier said than done, right? I mean, how do you play perfectly at the start? You figure that out, you write a book and you sell it and you make lots of money as the Splatoon community flocks to buy it. But you're absolutely correct in that everybody goes into the game understanding that that first initial bit can really, really go bad if you're not careful. But both of these teams, I will say, at least at their core, are somewhat similar in their philosophy in terms of how they're going to attack. Now, Jackpot has maybe a little bit more range as they try to do it.
Yeah, Jackpot has lots of
but
range.
both of them are
They actually
really
both
trying
have
to
lots of
team up,
range,
get the
but Jackpot
attacks
is a
going.
little
You
bit
said it
more
well
range.
with flanks and pincers there. So it wouldn't surprise me if one or both of these teams are willing to even let the opponent maybe get the early objective if
Yeah,
it
it
reveals
wouldn't
their
surprise
position,
me. They're
get
both
their attack
very
there,
nice
and then maybe
teams.
make that big counter push.
But they're
in
both
the first
they're
real
both
push.
very nice. Both
And
have
Milana,
lots
we
of
heard Nine
range.
say
They're both
earlier,
very aggressive.
Shooters have really no real weakness. Of course,
This might
there's
actually
other
be a
weapons that
very
might do
close
other
game,
things better
actually.
than them,
This
but
might
why do you
actually
feel
be
like
very,
shooters have
very
really
close.
taken over the meta,
How long are we in
especially
the
at this
video?
high
Though?
level?
Okay, we're an hour in. 1 hour
I
in.
think just being able to play as fast-paced as a shooter does is really just it's the play style that pretty much every team has adopted, minus a couple of outliers. But a weapon like the Ken's 52 Gal, it can paint really well. It has really powerful splatting potential.
It does,
It's a two-hit
yeah.
splat. And even having that wall to give it a little bit of defensive, I think is I think it's just really powerful, and it would be kind of a detriment to not use a weapon as powerful as that one.
I mean, if it's right there, might as well use it, right? And so we're going to get set for Splat Zones at New Albacore Hotel here in just a second. And 9, looking at Splat Zones on this particular map, you've called so many of these matches here. What do you typically see? How do things develop on this stage?
I smiled a little bit when I heard over the comms that was because this is a map where a lot of teams will make a big change here. I've seen double Rapid Blaster on this map from teams I didn't know could play Rapid Blaster. I've seen double backline here. I've seen people bring out Splatling.
Rapid Blasters?
Checking my
Holy
notes,
crap.
I didn't think anybody...
Okay, this is going to be a
And
good
it's
match.
just because if you
For
opt
sure.
to go with the same old on this map, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually sustain big pushes. It's very difficult to actually put meaningful pressure on this zone if you don't have a little range and ways to displace people outside of really maybe the only major weakness that shooters have, which is the lack of range in many respects. So I'm excited to see that now, and we talked about how both of these teams are pretty well going to stick with what we know them to run, but with this map in Mo, we may already be proven wrong.
And so, Milana, as I'm going through my notes here and trying to figure out what they're going to pivot to here in just a second, when you go with range, you also sacrifice some mobility. So if you factor that in, let's say we saw this a couple games ago. I think it was Ricky that was able to apply a lot of pressure on the backside of a backliner with range. If you are one of those frontliners and you're going against a team that's got some range, what do you need to keep in mind in order to put your team in the best spot possible?
You're gonna have to use the specials because the specials are the one thing that can displace the backliners most consistently.
Well, let's go ahead and check into New Albacore Hotel Splat Zone to see
right.
that one big open Splat Zone in the
Jackpot,
middle.
Lyric
Just like
Lemonade,
that,
and
Jackpot
the
will take
hotel
control. Even
pull
though it's
up,
neutral 4-4, they've got one
whatever.
special ready to go as those Tenta missiles come crashing down to Earth here, 9.
Yeah, they've come
Whoa,
crashing down.
oh,
and you can
Jackpot's
see
doing a lot.
Really, all 4 members are on one side, and this is where this can get a
What
little
is
bit
this?
scary on this map. Because
Oh,
you see both teams
Lyrical
ended up
Lemonade
bringing
lost
a
control.
Stingray here. If you know that the opponent is
Oh,
over
yeah,
there, I
they're
think that
done.
Ray ended up
Jackpot's
getting
gonna
2
win
here,
for sure.
and they're going to walk right up here. There is no greater ability than knowing where your opponent is. That is incredible information. When you can target that many of them, it's going to be that much more difficult. And look at this. As they rotate around, they understand there's only a couple avenues in. They don't have a ton of range to push in. As long as they can go special for special, they have to feel good.
And Jackpot just bursting out of the blocks here, Milana, and now they have really got Lyrical Lemonade in a difficult position because this is a map where it's very hard to just quickly approach the zone.
And you can see it makes it even more difficult to approach the zone because of that toxic mist coming out from that jet squelcher. And you know, I think
Jackpot
as much
destroyed
as Lyrical
them.
Lemonade put up that fight, I think it was Jackpot.
Oh, actually, it may be close.
And Jackpot really just
Oh, no,
dominated
Jackpot
that game. And I
KO'd
think
them.
9, the play of the game was clearly that Stingray getting that
Jackpot
2-for-1
KO'd
special.
after, I think it was,
You see
it
sometimes
was
just a
Banana.
well-timed
I think
special
they got
in a
Jackpot
critical moment
destroyed
in
them
any game
after
is all it
Banana
takes because
fell in
it's
the water.
very difficult, especially in splat zones, to recover
What a
from something
destroyed
like that.
thing. That
Especially
one.
the map and all the challenges
Jackpot
that exist and just trying to
destroyed
get
them.
back
I
to the
think
zone.
Jackpot
Absolutely,
might
and
win it
well
all,
timed, but
actually.
also well
It's
placed.
gonna be
There was
very
actually
close,
a
but I
Stingray
think
that was
actually
used by
Jackpot's
Lyrical
gonna win it
Lemonade
all.
before that mighty
But
Stingray
Jackpot
came out
Review
from
is a
Jackpot.
very
But the
good
angle
map,
it was
don't get
fired
me
at
wrong.
made it so that it couldn't get all the way down that main thoroughfare of the map. And when the second one came out, I believe it was Legend, not only were all 4 members of Lyrical Lemonade within range of it, but it was used at the exact spot that you would want a Stingray to be used. Part of it was because the missiles forced them there, but you better believe that timing and that staggering of the specials to herd everybody in one direction and then hit them with the Stingray, that's not by chance, that's not by accident. They've done it over and over again, and it's why they have all the accolades that we've been giving them.
So Jackpot getting the early victory here in game 1. They're now up 1-0. And Milana, what we saw from that is Jackpot able to really hold their water. Lyrical Lemonade tried to respond with a couple of specials that were stacking, but they got the splats when they needed to really give them that numbers advantage. And at that point, it was going to be so much more difficult for Lyrical Lemonade to come together as one as they blocked him out of the zone and advanced.
I think one of the unique challenges of splat zones on New Albacore Hotel is that it is very difficult to come back into the zone if you have a toxic mist blocking off one avenue of entry, and if you're just really struggling to make it back, if you're funneled into one direction and your opponents are already there waiting for you, it becomes really, really difficult.
Yeah, very.
So we're getting set for
honestly.
Rainmaker on Muscle Forge Fitness. Third time we've seen this map already in today's Inkopolis Showdown here, 9, but first time we've seen it for Rainmaker. How does this impact the way you approach the other team when you know that you've got an objective like Rainmaker that can end very quickly if you get knocked back on your heels, like we've said before?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that the way these two teams are going to gear up, it's actually not going to deviate much from what their original game plan is. Certainly the fundamentals are still the same. Don't get taken out by stray bombs or a stray special. Coordinate your specials when you're trying to push and team up where you can. What I do find interesting about this map in particular, we've seen some incredible games of Rainmaker be played on Muscle Forge Fitness, is oftentimes the pushes go to the right because that's the more sustained long-term push, but it does offer some really interesting avenues for Inkjets to attack on the defensive side, for people to maybe even take the Ink Rail going left to attack rather than making the push that way. So with these two
After the next game, after Rainmaker, I'm probably gonna.
I'm interested to see what they've got cooking.
After Rainmaker, I'm probably going
That's
to
what makes
be
Muscle Forge
AFK
Fitness so
for the
interesting
second
here,
last
Milana.
time.
There is that
I'm
level
gonna be
of
AFK after
verticality
this
to get
game.
closer to the goal
And then
here
when
that
it hits the
you have to
2-hour mark,
navigate, and
if
that can be
there's
challenging
no
sometimes
game, when it
for
hits the
some teams.
2-hour
But
mark,
let's see
then I'm
who
probably
strikes first here between
gonna
Jackpot,
be
Lyrical
AFK
Lemonade,
there
and
too.
Milana.
But if there's a
Anything stand
game,
out
then
to
I'm
you
gonna
about
be
these
there.
team comps at the moment?
We do see that infamous 52 gal coming on the side of Lyrical Lemonade, so we talked about the power that it brings, that the splatting power, the defensive wall that it brings. So let's see if Miracle Lemonade is able to use
not
that
even 10
today.
o'clock. I got plenty of time.
Leafy trying to go toe-to-toe, gets a little bit of an assist there. 4-3 advantage for Jackpot. Leafy trying to get out of the yellow, makes their way forward. Quick claim of the Rainmaker, and even quicker splat, as it is now 3-0 on the field for Lyrical Lemonade here, 9.
Oh, Lyrical Lemonade might do it. Oh, they're taking the lead. Oh, okay, this is actually closer.
And you can see the brush is actually moving from
They lost the
backside.
Rainmaker. Oh, yes.
Coordination there. You don't want your Rainmaker to be the one that's way ahead in that spot. They might be able to make at least a little more of this push happen, but it appears that again, the coordination that we talked about here that you have to have.
Lyrical Lemonade just has the lead by a very little bit. But still, it could go either way, actually.
Was able to stop the push from Lyrical Lemonade. However, it is the team of the yellow sweet drink that does have the lead at this point here, and so it's going to be Jackpot trying to make their way back into.
But it could go either way, though.
Being patient, already bursting that Rainmaker shield with that Inkjet ready to go. Milana, now you can provide some mobility and support if you're Madness moving from that back line.
It's going to be a really tough one for Jackpot.
Oh, Lyrical Lemonade have a Rainmaker. Okay, never mind. Lyrical Lemonade probably going to win.
Is ready to pounce on the
There's still 3 minutes and 16 seconds left, though. Oh, they lost the Rainmaker. Oh, yeah. Jackpot's done for.
Lyrical Lemonade, 45-86. Over 3 minutes left. An eternity in Splatoon 2, so a lot can happen here at this point. Goss dropping down.
They have the Rainmaker, and they lost it. All right, Jackpot lost the Rainmaker. Lyrical has it. Oh, yeah.
You know, it says so much here that this is 2 times where I thought they might have a push that went the distance. That time they had the right special setup, they had the right people in the right place, and again the Rainmaker went down a little early and they weren't able to get all they could out of that push.
Not even a single chance Jackpot won't win. Oh, but they have the Rainmaker.
Back up and not to trade to try to get the quad here, but now look at this, all the work and all the control that Lyrical Lemonade has had might not matter as all.
They lost the lead, and they lost the Rainmaker. Oh, Jackpot has the lead. Oh my God!
Really paved the way. Now it's going to be Lyrical Lemonade. They'll have to make a push here.
They still got plenty of time. They got 2 minutes 13 seconds left. It could go to overtime. I think this could be either one's game still. Or it could go to overtime.
Jackpot's game to lose, and you see Legend.
So far, Jackpot goes in the lead by a little bit.
Lemonade to make a push happen, but you know, having that shark right there, unfortunately getting detected by the missiles, and you know, being able to know where your opponents are is.
Oh, they have the Rainmaker. See, I told you it could go either way.
Goss right behind that splash wall, picks one out. Goss this time trying to make their way forward. Booyah Bomb ready to go, but snuffed out, and that is a key splat.
Oh, they lost the Rainmaker, a key splat, and that is game
It's just the smallest of margins. Once again, they had a really great position.
They
had the right people where they needed them. One of them
it's still in the game, but Lyrical Lemonade actually came with a huge comeback, and now Jackpot still has the lead by a very tiny little bit, though. It's still either one. It's still either one's game.
Paid off when the push comes to shove.
Nitro hanging out behind all the traffic at this point. Launched a couple of Tenta missiles. 1 minute left. Lyrical Lemonade will have to be patient and find their opportunity. You can't rush it here, Milana, because you still have enough time to get the troops together. But this might be your last push coming up here if you are Lyrical Lemonade.
Oh my gosh.
We see a prime example of that numbers advantage. You know, Jackpot being able to get that splat on that member of Lyrical Lemonade. And, you know, it's really not that much time in, but, you know, Rainmaker can go really, really fast.
It could. Rainmaker goes fast. Very, very fast.
Leafy's gonna have those Tenta missiles ready
26 seconds left. Lyrical Lemonade needs to take the lead in 22, 21, 20.
With the Octobrush, but able to get Leafy right there. So now it's 4-2, and here comes 9. A chance for Lyrical Lemonade.
Oh, here it is. They have the Rainmaker. It's a big chance for Lyrical. Will Lyrical win, or will we go to overtime? They lost the Rainmaker. It's going to be so close.
Can they get the pop in time?
Can they get it in time? And that is game. Lyrical Lemonade looks like one.
Again, a wayward bomb or a missile. I don't think there was anybody running at them.
Oh no, Jackpot won.
Of the game, I really felt as though Lyrical Lemonade had a finger on the pulse of how that game was going.
I actually thought I thought they had something on the pulse.
Had one push, Jordan.
They really did, and we saw at the end there, 9, a suction bomb on the mesh bridge, and obviously you can't swim out of the way there. So very difficult situation for Lyrical Lemonade down the stretch. But Milana, 2-0 now jackpot, and you see it's just by a razor's margin, as 9 pointed out.
Okay, I'm gonna be AFK, guys.
And that to me
I'm
feels
gonna
like
be AFK for about 3 minutes now, so I'll see you
when
when
I
I'm
get
back.
to the top. They can just make the plays when they need to most.
Yeah, you can just see, like you said, the margin of error is just so small, and having teams be so well practiced that they can capitalize on these little tiny errors, that it just you know that these teams are straight at the top of their game.
So 1 game away from advancing for Jackpot, 1 game away from being eliminated for Lyrical Lemonade, but really, 9, in that last game, you felt like Lyrical Lemonade was going toe-to-toe with Jackpot, but at this point, for Lyrical Lemonade, it really feels like when you get to those key moments of the game, you've got to get those splats. It just seems like they need to have a little bit more composure, which you talked about at the top of the show.
Yeah, a little more composure. And again, we said again at the top of the show that Lyrical Lemonade's individual technical prowess was absolutely up to par here. We knew that they were going to be able to run through teams if they weren't very buttoned up on their defensive side. They just happen to run into arguably one of the top 2 or 3 teams doing it in North America right now, where, like you said, they are buttoned up and they are able to find those splats. But again, we said on New Albacore, we weren't really going to get to see the best of Lyrical Lemonade. Muscle Forge, we saw what they were capable of, and as they move on further and further into the event, I really do hope that we get to see more of that.
All right, we're going to get set for Clam Blitz on New Albacore Hotel here in just a moment, so we'll revisit this map again here, Milana. And with Clam Blitz, what seems to be that top-tier strategy? Because it feels like you can win these games a variety of ways. The one we saw earlier, it was a quick knockout by Ryu. How do you make sure you can put yourself in the best position when it comes to Clam Blitz?
So for Clam Blitz, I think it's super important that you make your pushes count. So, your team might have the football and you might break the basket, but if you're not able to kind of capitalize on that open basket, maybe it might be worth waiting a little bit. So being able to have not only turf control, but clams control.
And of course, if you can get those 10 power clams, the ball is in your court here, 9, as you get a chance to navigate the map. And it really feels like those pushes, making that first one count, 9, when there's no penalty, is huge in order to give yourself the advantage when you get set here for Clam Blitz.
Absolutely. I mean, we've always kind of referred to maybe under 60 is the point you'd like to get to. Half of the points that you score are given back to you as a penalty. So if you say beyond 60, that means that the opponent won't be able to equalize your score with 1 power clam and a little change. And every time you score, the opponent gets what we affectionately call the pity clam that they can then use to make their own counter push. But I will say, Albacore, a very, very smart choice by Jackpot here. They're going to be able to control the pace of this game and not get overrun.
And a very wise choice indeed. You don't really see any major changes to the team comps here at this point. So let's see if Lyrical Lemonade can stave off elimination or if Jackpot can go ahead and move on to grand finals where they will take on Ryu. And let's go ahead and check out the action behind the perspective of Banana at this point. That ink armor coming out. Banana and the troops approaching closely here. Trying to get that first flag. No luck there as Jackpot ducks behind the wall. Another splash wall coming out. So early on, this neutral Milana, not an extended period to start off this game, but there, very quickly, 4-2 advantage for Jackpot.
Yeah, this is going to be...
It is pretty close, actually. It is actually pretty close.
Like I said, they're not only going to have turf control, but they're also going to have that clams control. With 16 clams under their belt, it might be worth making that first push.
Jared trying to advance the ball down the field in this opening quarter. Had a couple of lead blockers this time. Going to take it towards the sideline. Still plenty of
we're actually going to do
ready to go.
We're actually going to do a Greenville Roblox video.
A little bit of extra defense, and here comes the first throw, a completion down the middle here, 9.
We're actually going to
talk
do
about a patient push. Look at that.
If Jackpot wins this, they win it all, and then Lyrical Lemonade is out.
He ran forth. He waited for his teammates
They're
to
in
get the
danger,
exact
Lyrical
right spot.
Lemonade.
He knew that the opponents would
Then
jump
I'm actually
going to
do gonna play a Roblox video, actually. I'm gonna play a bunch of Roblox games, and the first one I'm gonna play, me and Nicholas' friend Alessandro, and my brother Nicholas, we're each gonna be playing.
To build a sizable lead, and there
We're
they go.
each gonna be playing Greenville, guys, and we're gonna explore a bunch of stuff.
For the rest of this game.
And yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And you know, even though
Guys,
has a penalty,
you should
of
definitely
29,
stay tuned for that
you know,
video.
that's just like you guys might have to help me with the math. A football and 4 clams to be able to take down that penalty.
They're going to need a lot to get to that point there. As you mentioned, at least 3 footballs and 1 clam to overtake the lead that Jackpot has built. But here they go. They've broken the basket again. Jackpot trying to fill it up. It's a clam feast as they're trying to get to finals here. Unable to provide any more pressure after that. You see the timer run down, but still a huge lead at this point, 24 to 100 for Jackpot. Now you have all the flexibility in the world to do what you want to do in this game.
I feel like you could make a movie about just how many people it's taken to take down Leafy every single time here. It was 3 people is what it took
make
to
an
bring
entire
this hit to
movie
52 down
how many people
earlier.
it takes
Here
to
it
take
took
down.
another 2. And all that time, we're halfway through the game. And Jordan, I feel like Lyrical Lemonade hasn't been back in mid since the start. Forget a counter push. They haven't really been able to leave their side to the greats.
They really
That
haven't,
is
and
true,
that's what
actually.
makes New Albuquerque
I think
so
Jackpot has
difficult
this
to
one
come
for
back
sure.
from. There really isn't a swift way to swim back into middle here, Milana, as we now see Jared with yet another power clam. And time is on the side of Jackpot as they can just pick and choose when they want to make this potential push yet again.
Yeah, it's going to be a really difficult one for Lyrical Lemonade to come back. But as I say that, they do get that wipe on Jackpot, giving them an opportunity to make a push in. But do they have enough plans to make it a meaningful one?
And a quick super jump into the basket, and this is a chance here for Lyrical Lemonade. They're able to fill it up with a couple of clams.
Lyrical Lemonade, is this a chance for Lyrical?
That mesh gate, but it looks like Jackpot was able to keep Lyrical Lemonade out of the picture. Decent push, but still a lot of ground to make
Lyrical,
up.
it's okay, you still have a chance, Lyrical Lemonade.
And that's a respectable
They screw
push
anything
in
up,
most
though,
scenarios
Jackpot
here.
wins.
But you can see there with that 19-point penalty, they're going to need basically an entire power clam just to start scoring again. And really, it was a really kind of almost an unforced error from Jackpot that allowed that push to even start there. Jared rotated back and got it taken out. But as you see now, Leafy leading the charge and spamming this way, saying, hey, no one's even close to defending this thing. Get over here and let's get this done. Just 2 more clams will do it. Don't even have to be the power clams.
Clams.
It does look like unless Leafy is able to fight through
2
2
more
members,
clams for
it'll
Lyrical
have to be
Lemonade,
for
and
the
then
next
Lyrical
push.
Lemonade wins this.
So the lead is huge, 62
One-
to 4 with under 45 seconds left to go. So
Oh, yeah, Lyrical
will
Lemonade's
have
got
to
this.
have a momentous push and a little bit of luck in order to come back in this one. Jackpot just seconds away from moving on to grand finals, and they've done it because they've been able to keep Lyrical Lemonade out of mid for the majority of the game. As Jared right now
no.
is hiding under the cover.
Oh my god, this is
Night,
actually going to
night,
be
move on
close.
to the next round
The
here,
closest
Milana.
game yet.
I think what really gives Jackpot the advantage.
Yeah,
just
actually
constantly
no,
is
that's
that
game.
they're
Jackpot
always
won.
in
Jackpot's
Lyrical
going to the
Lemonade's
finals.
face, whether on the left
And
side
guys,
or on the right side,
in
whether
10
mid,
seconds,
and it's really giving
Jackpot
Lyrical Lemonade a
and
really
Ryu
difficult time to come
will
back
be
into
versing together
Leafy with
in
the
the
trade,
Event
but it'll
1
be too
finals
little,
for
too
the
late
trophy.
as
And
Jackpot
there it
does go
is.
ahead
Jackpot
and
won it
make
all,
work
guys,
of Lyrical
with a
Lemonade.
complete
They advanced
KO
3
from
to grand
Jackpot.
finals, and
Yep.
I think we are starting to see
Wow.
why this was the
Lyrical
favorite coming
Lemonade
into
is
this
done.
Inkopolis showdown here.
Jackpot
This is a very balanced,
versus
very
Ryu
aggressive team, and especially
in
with
the
Leafy, the level that they are
finals.
playing at, winning so many one-on-ones, makes it very difficult to get the advantage against Jackpot.
It's so difficult. And we almost buried the lead there. Madness switching over to the ballpoint Splatling there just for that map. Again, for those of you who maybe didn't catch the rules at the start, the losing team does get to counterpick the mode, but the winning team gets to counterpick the map. And if you say, they don't have a backliner, we've got someone who can play an incredibly mobile backliner, pilot it well. Even if they aren't able to maybe go off and get a lot of splats, we can use that to force the enemy in the direction we want them to. It just shows that they've got versatility on top of incredible skill and on top of all the practice you could imagine.
Let's check out the bracket as we get set for grand finals here in just a moment. It'll be Jackpot moving on, taking on Ryu. And don't forget
Wow.
Ryu, the only game they lost was because of a disconnect. So 2 top-tier squads getting set to face off in grand finals. It'll be a best of 7. We'll cover those rules
Best
when we
of
come
7?
back. But we're going to take one more quick break as we get set for those grand finals. But before we go, it's our opportunity to remind you that Play Versus is Nintendo's official Scholastic partner for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, where thousands of high school players will compete weekly.
We just filmed the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC video and we just launched it out.
Letter. That's right.
We actually have 2 likes on that. I don't know who liked it. Some random person did. Was it Bandy? Because I gave Bandy a shout out on that video.
And prepare to play in the fall season for 2023. Again, that's www.playversus.com. All right. When we come back, Ryu taking on Jackpot, best of 7 grand finals here in the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022. We'll be right back with all the action.
All right. So guys, we're gonna be back with all the action. Meanwhile, okay, never mind. I'm watching this. We literally have this game. Any of you can guess what it is? It's Mario Strikers Battle League. Guys, part 3 coming out pretty soon, actually. Part 3. This is going to be a very wild part 3. Part 3 coming out very soon. Oh, not Wario's Hyper Strike. Oh, Toad is... Nah, Toad is lame. Luigi's is very good. Yoshi is freaking good too. Oh, he's mad and then he just... Ooh, this one is very good. I love this one. This guy does a freaking bicycle. Look at it. And then boom, boom, boom. Yeah. Get hype for Strike Mario Strikers Battle. It's available now. I already have it actually. For Nintendo. Nice. Okay. What the hell is this? Okay, I don't know what this is. Whatever, we're just gonna skip it.
You were all talk when you left here.
We're gonna skip it, guys. You guys can enjoy it. I'm gonna be AFK actually. I'm actually might have one more AFK after this one. Guys, you're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna be AFK
my turn.
for about
Honestly, you make more noise than the
for a pretty long time actually.
Even if you did stop its raging flow, it will soon burst through.
I'm gonna be AFK for about
Let us see how
5 minutes. So about 5 minutes I can be AFK. You guys enjoy.
We each have a lifespan of 10 years. We call them terms. Life begins with our first term and ends at the close of our 10th.
Victory!
And over the course of those 10 years, we fight continually.
What kind of pep talk is that? Of course we're gonna survive. I've thought about this a lot. About what I can achieve. What I'll leave behind.
Then I think of tomorrow and the tremors are back. Will I see the same faces when I wake? Will I even be around to see them?
Get ready. Now, the enemy is before you. Chase them to the ends of the world.
Unchecked, Ouroboros will lead this world to ruin. You must be erased.
These soldiers will nourish me, and we can always grow plenty more.
Stop toying with everyone's lives!
You gave us a choice. The choice not to fight. And you made it true.
That mark there. Late 10th term, eh? 3 months left. That about right?
3 more months. And then I'll be gone from this world.
How many of you are getting made an example of and hopes rested this time?
The lost numbers are attacking!
We have good reason to meet with them. To bring peace. and to set the world to rights.
But take a look around. Think about how many lives it's cost. Annihilated the starts moving.
This is bad, Noah.
Now I want to live and learn. So don't give up yet. This will buy you some extra time. Use it. Stop this. I don't want any of your time.
If the world holds our lives back, I will end it.
These are our lives here. They're not some toys you can just play with.
It is fate. Many have tried, but none have ever managed to escape its flow.
And welcome back to the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Showdown 2022. Jordan Kent here kicking it with Milana and 9 as we are getting set for grand finals. Let's go ahead and check out the bracket as Ryu will be facing off against Jackpot. Both these teams breezed through semifinals, and now two top-tier teams will duke it out for all the hardware, gifts, prizes, bragging rights, and everything else that comes with winning this tournament. And let's check out the rules here for grand finals. A bit of a change compared to what we saw in semifinals. It'll be the 4 game modes. Same rules apply as far as you have to go through all 4 game modes before you repeat one. Those 7 stages that you see right there, you can repeat them at any moment's notice. We'll get some new blood in there. And then, of course, the team with the lower seed will choose the mode for the first game. The other team will choose the stage. After that, the winner will choose the stage after every single game.
Yeah, about half hour, 45 minutes.
Versus Jackpot. You penciled Jackpot as the favorite coming into this tournament. But we've seen a lot of very high-level play from Ryu. Both these teams, they seem to strike me as squads that, in a one-on-one situation, they are not backing away from that. They feel like they have all the confidence in the world to take down one-on-one to give their team that advantage.
Yeah, confidence is a great word because
confidence is great, Confidence,
and in a game like this that moves so quickly, you have to be decisive. If there
So guys, before we actually go any further, make your predictions. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think, and guys, if you missed it, I'll tell you the teams that are going to win. Or also, if you missed it, you can just rewind back to the Splatoon battle, or you can just call someone that has watched it and ask about them, and you can pause the video. But guys, before you do, make your predictions. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think Ryu's going to win, or do you think Jackpot's going to win? Honestly, for me, it's a very tough decision because they're both around like the same area.
And, you know, which of them
it's a very tough decision, but I think Jackpot might pull it off by a very little bit.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out.
It's going to be very interesting,
feels like Leafy is the key player in all of this and what they can do with that 52 gal and whether or not Ryu has enough in their comp to go toe-to-toe with it if they choose to go with their own 52 gal or figure out something to try to slow it down because it seems to be the dominant weapon in the hands of one of the best players so far in this tournament.
Yeah, it's such a strong weapon, and it does so well against most other shooters. It's one of the reasons why the weapon was pushed and developed so quickly. Yes, it was always strong, but certainly when more shooters came into the fray, because you have the wall, because you outrange a lot of them, and because it only takes 2 shots to get a splat, it really plays well against them. So I agree entirely. Leafy was able to take the attention of 2, 3, sometimes even 4 members of Lyrical Lemonade. So we will see if the members of Rio are up to snuff.
Oh, let's pop a wheelie at Humpback Pump Track as we get set for this matchup between Ryu and Jackpot. You got a big fat splat zone right in the middle. And so, Milana, a lot of turf that you can ink to build up a quick special here. It really seems like it's a sprint towards the mid.
We're in, guys.
More than just one special, Jordan. This map is quite infamous for being one of the most special heavy maps, spot zones, humpback pump track in particular.
This is a pretty infamous map, to be honest.
Boys and girls, this is where missiles come from here. This is humpback pump track chance just to cover the map in them. And as you get set, you see Ricky and Ryu building that early lead, and this is the MO of Ryu. Ricky trying to dodge.
Guys, this is the final, guys. This is the very last tournament, the very last area, guys. So how this works, first one to win 4 games wins it all because best out of 7.
People feel about this map, but one of the interesting things about it is, well, maybe not now because it seems like everyone's going down here, but this is a map where you don't always see the big splat and assist numbers here. A lot of teams are totally happy just to shoot at the zone, to hold it on, throw the specials there, and really this map tends to go the other way when one team is brave enough to send somebody to attack, and here it is over here. This could be the start of something big.
The dirt mounds of humpback pump track currently covered in purple ink, but it seems like Ryu trying to change the tide here. And here it is, Milana. Ryu, 3-2 advantage. They take back the zone.
I think that this is an interesting matchup, especially for a map and mode like this. Just given that
this is a very interesting matchup.
But for this map, like Nine said, you could play pretty passively and still be able to hold on to that zone long enough to get the victory.
And Nine, how about this? Leafy going with the splatter shot instead of the 52 gal, trying to get a little bit more speed and ink coverage here as they pick up the splat.
Yeah, it's a really interesting decision, and I was thinking about it as well. It's for that and the missiles as well. Apparently, I guess they don't have anybody else that they really felt comfortable switching over onto a missile-using weapon here, but for the majority of the game, I think it's been to their detriment. But now, finally, as they've been able to hold and time these missiles right, just a few more seconds here, they can find themselves the lead, and they do. The counter push coming in right now.
What?
And, I mean, this is humpback being humpback, everybody.
And that was the big play of this game so far. Jackpot able to take the
guys,
lead back
in about roughly 4 or 5-ish minutes,
they're still holding it
then
down, though.
we have broke our the record, but we broke
advantage for Ryu, and that is a key play right
our
there,
record.
for Ryu to stay alive.
We
in
broke
this game.
our record for the longest video because our longest video is a Prodigy live stream. If you guys remember, it was actually the very first live stream that I did. The very first real live stream, because I did a couple pretend live streams because A, I didn't know how to live stream back then, and B, I got banned from live stream. But guys, it was my first ever actual live stream. Was when we beat the Ice Tower and Prodigy map game. I'm pretty sure all you guys remember that. That was such a fun time. Very great. I love that video. That is actually one of my favorite videos on the channel.
I'm gonna get at least one. How about
so guys,
two?
with that video,
Again, it's been the big
that video got 20 views.
Like
Probably at 21 now, actually.
Still in a great spot to fire at anyone who's
but anyway, that video is an hour, 40 minutes, and I think 44. I think that video is an hour, 40 minutes, and 44 seconds long. I think that's what it is.
Trying to keep Ryu at bay.
No, it's in the 50s. It's now I remember. It's 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 50 seconds.
Just has to apply it, but Jackpot, again, unrelenting. Finally, Ryu able to claim it. You still have a lot more to happen here, Milana, but right now, it seems like time is against Ryu as Jackpot comfortably in the lead at this moment.
This map is just, it's so back and forth. It's very humpback pump track. Honestly,
it is back. Very back and forth.
You'll miss the lead switching back and forth, like right away.
Yeah, it's very back and forth.
Kiwi releasing those Tenta missiles. Still in control of Jackpot. They're the penalty, and how about a key splat on Madness? That might give them the lead that they need, but no, Jackpot. The defense is strong in this one here, Nine. They will just not give up control at this moment. They're fighting for it with their lives, and 6 seconds left. Jackpot trying to close it out, but no, Ryu gets it back, and Nine still plenty more splat zones left to go here.
So many things you could have talked about right in that moment there. So many key plays to keep this game going, but I guess just to know that was an inkjet that was waiting to shut the door on them right there. That shot had to hit to give them a chance, and now they have to move forward here. They can't allow Jackpot to come back to the zone for free. Well-time moving up, but the ink armor is going to be just enough. 2 members already down. That is going to try to find another pick. Ricky fighting to try to hold it, but it's not going to be enough. And Humpback Pump Track never fails to deliver, always out of breath when this one ends, but Jackpot holding strong.
Jackpot
you
won.
love to see, but what an opening game here.
Jackpot won.
Back and forth, that lead changing at least 4 times here, Milana, but I think 9 said it well. Down the stretch, it was Madness, that ink armor that was able to just shut the door on that final push for Ryu, but overall, I felt like Jackpot did a really terrific job of just maintaining.
Okay, I actually uncharged my computer because
things down right at the top of that stage there.
I think for a map mode like this, it's a little bit difficult to kind of process what's going on, given that each of the maps is so fast. So we know we saw a lot of aggression, a lot of picks coming out on the side of Leafy. I remember seeing Leafy using the missiles and kind of like doing like a back and forth to see where exactly the enemy teammates were, and to be able to communicate with that with their team, I think is invaluable.
So Jackpot picking up the first game, and
Jackpot completely destroyed them in the first game.
Hold on to your ink tanks because we got a lot more action coming here. But to your point, it really feels like whoever's going to win these grand finals, they're just going to end up making more of those critical plays at those big moments, and they could go either way. It's really just, hey, is your aim correct here? Was your timing perfect, as we mentioned, taking out that inkjet at the perfect moment?
Yeah, there are so many scenarios where you don't really get to appreciate how important they were to the overall story of the game until you really go back and look at it here. That splat, again, was on the inkjet. Madness's inkjet was the one that allowed the game to continue. But then later on, Madness coming back in, had the ink armor, and on that Nautilus, a weapon that's very strong against shooter comps as well, ended up being what swung it back the other way. So both of those moments can kind of get lost in the ether of what was an incredible whole 5-minute game, almost to overtime as well. So many critical moments there. It's so difficult to catch them all, but these players are going to have to find a way to do it.
Milana, coming up next, we have Clan Blitz, Inkblot Art Academy. What do you typically see?
Oh my god, this is about to reach our longest video.
We've seen it before.
Oh my gosh, holy crap, this feels so good. It feels good, it feels insane. Guys, we have officially reached our world's longest video, guys. Guys, this has been the longest video we've had on LPL history. You guys, we are an hour 41 minutes in, and we broke the record for our world's longest video.
Platform on right, and then we have the ramp on left. So it really becomes crucial to be able to kind of watch both of those areas of entry in order to prevent those pushes from happening.
Yeah.
And we saw with Jackpot, they really do like to go for that big push here, 9, and then they do a really nice job of just keeping you discombobulated and making sure you don't get a chance to really rally back. They do a really nice job of pushing you back into the zone. So if you're Ryu, how do you make sure that if you do fall behind early on, you're able to get back into this game?
Yeah,
I mean, you stick to the fundamentals. Clearly, that game, there were cool scenarios when we could see Ryu up.
Basically, the fundamentals.
I will say, the one thing that is going to be very difficult for them with the comps that they've been running is if Leafy ends up going back to that 52 gal, and if Madness elects to stay on that Nautilus, those are 2 weapons that are very, very difficult for a single or even 2 shooters to deal with at that time. So they're really going to have to be decisive about how they move through to attack, but more importantly, they're going to have to pick their spots well and move up through that.
And Milana, how do teams go about deciding who's going to play quarterback? Who gets the power clam? Do you really want to make sure you have it designated to a particular player, or is it first come, first serve?
I think because when you're holding the power clam, it designates your position to the enemy team. Usually people who play a little bit farther back opt to hold on to that power clam, or maybe the players might not even build the power clam until they're right on the platform underneath the basket.
Clan Blitz, Inkblot Art Academy, as we go ahead and approach the canvas here.
All right, here is game 2. Jackpot up 1-0. Jackpot wins 3 more. They are the Event 1 champion of Splatoon. They are Splatoon 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think that the K-52 is the strongest weapon in the game, you probably think it's because this weapon exists
Event
here.
1 of 2022.
I'm sorry, we saw missiles like, what, 10 seconds ago, and now we're seeing them again here. And one of the reasons Inkblot is such an interesting map for here is there are so many ways to attack the opponent's defense from mid. There aren't a whole lot of other maps where that is really doable, and certainly the missiles make it that much easier.
So neither team has been able to get a basket open at this point. Real back and forth as they try to take care of business with neutral. You see 8 clams have been claimed by both sides. Still plenty of currency on the field at this moment. And Milana, here's an opportunity here. You have a little bit of bunching here for Ryu, not necessarily the positioning you want at this moment.
Definitely. We mentioned it in some of the earlier matches that if you're bunching together with your teammates and that missile comes in, you might accidentally share your missiles with your teammates. And
Sorry, guys.
never
We thought I was AFK.
Boom!
Interesting note here, 9. You saw Ryu sort of back on their side of the map. They've used 2 specials to stave off that push.
2 specials? Okay, yeah. This is going to be tough for Ryu.
Here's maybe finally an opening in this game for a team to make some noise.
Yeah, great job of them backing up and almost baiting Madness to attack there. It was indeed them going all the way back and using some specials. Because of that, they were actually able to get 2 down and get themselves back into middle. 2 down might not be enough for you to start a push, but it is enough to get a little bit of control. And sometimes that's all you need. Although, as I say that, 2 of them go down as well.
Nobody on the board yet. It feels like a game of chess where no one has lost a pawn at the moment. We're at the 3-minute mark and still tied at 100 apiece. Here comes Legend. Legend trying to get behind the defense, able to sneak it in and gets the first
broke the
score
barrier.
for Jackpot.
Jackpot.
2 quick power clams.
Have a chance because Ryu broke the barrier for Jackpot.
Specials 4-3 on the map here, Milana. This might be all it takes for Jackpot here.
But
it's actually close. Oh, they're dropping.
Game of defense right here. Jared getting a couple more clams in, and you see that the way that they're timing those clams, that they're letting the timer tick down a little bit before throwing another clam to kind of renew that timer a little bit, giving Jackpot just a little bit of breathing before they take the dub.
Ryu won. They took the dub with a KO. Oh, Jackpot won.
Nine, it goes to show you with Clam Blitz, it's one of those modes where if
I thought Ryu won.
It might go all down the drain here.
Apparently not.
Really just go toe to toe. They were patient.
Okay, Jackpot apparently won that one. And Ryu is not falling even further behind. But the Jackpot wins 2 more. They are the champions
but they were able to stay on the
the
offensive.
Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Event 1 Finals of
We talked about it just
2022.
before that big push happened. Inkblood Art Academy is a map where you can attack the opponent as you're scoring clams. There's a lot of maps in Clam Blitz, some of the most variable maps when it comes to different modes, where if you get a score, you kind of have to leave. Like, leave an active area to go back and get claims here. Inkblot is not one of those maps. So that's why you saw 3 members stay up and attack, and then 1 rotate back, and then a different 1 rotate back, and score more as they go through. So in terms of how you execute a game plan, or what I would say almost a perfect game looks like in terms of what it can look like on Inkblot for a big sustained push, that's exactly how you draw it up.
So now Ryu is down 0-2, Milana. And it feels like this game 3 is huge because
this is huge for Jackpot.
It is going to be very
Jackpot
hard
might
for you to
have
come back.
a chance to
What
win
are
it all.
you thinking at this moment as a team?
I don't think they have a chance.
You've got
I think Jackpot
it feels
is
like
going to win
you
it
can go
all.
toe to toe with them, but you just haven't been able to close
I mean,
it
we
out.
still have about
Get yourself going to kind of
27 minutes left
try and pick up this
of the
first
video.
game.
I think maybe they might have to change up the strategy a little bit. If they're playing aggressively, and they notice that Jackpot's playing aggressively too, maybe it might be time to kind of play a little bit more unconventionally.
Yeah.
So we have tower control coming up here, 9, and with tower controls, we know it's more
this
of a
might be an
slower
easy match
paced
for
game, and
Jackpot.
that
I
might
don't know
change
if
some of
Ryu's
the
gonna do
team
it.
comps that we might see. So with this slower approach, what do you have to keep in mind as you try to advance the tower here? Because clearly splats are important, turf control is important as well too, but it really feels like the coordination plays a huge role here.
It does, and to that note, this counter pick really feels like we don't want to play Rainmaker counter pick, because it really does, because this is where I feel like the way that Jackpot plays is going to be most ferocious, because again, Madness on that Nautilus, Leafy can switch to really whatever.
Yeah, just check the 2-hour mark. Unfortunately, there's no game at the 2-hour mark.
To get through them. What I will
So,
say is that Kiwi, who's been piloting
when we
that
hit
Boozler, is going to have a lot of opportunities to pick off enemies as they tried to dive onto the tower.
So when we hit the hour 52:47 second, whatever,
Well, with the price of gas being
when
what
we
it
hit the
is,
mark
let's just stay
after
in
this
one
game, then I'm going to be AFK.
control.
But anyways,
So this
jackpot
will be
to
Jackpot trying to go
Ryu.
up 3-0.
Oh, guys,
Over
this
Ryu,
challenge
Ryu will
is
really
far
have to
from
just
over.
Try to close out a game here. We've seen some impressive stuff, but they just haven't been able to put together the complete game that we've seen from Jackpot. And right now we take a look at Legend, and there is Madness, of course, with that Nautilus, and it is 4-3 on the field, just like that, Milana.
4-3.
Here comes that push from Jackpot.
Oh, and Legend getting a choice pick on that member of Ryu. And, you know, we see Jackpot just sitting on the tower. Jared is just riding the tower through. And while the rest of Jackpot is doing real work, trying to keep Ryu from being able to even get anywhere near the tower.
And you see Legend and Leafy right now, just a pair of bullies at this moment here. Nine, they are really pushing
already
Ryu
passed
back
the
towards the
second
spawn,
checkpoint.
and Ryu just trying to do whatever they can.
Holy
Not
crap.
even an opportunity here, Nine, to really build up a special as they get going, as we thankfully see a Booyah Bomb and a chance for Ryu to counterpunch.
Yeah, they might at least get their breath. But I hope everybody watching this right now takes note of what started this all. There was one very choice pick, as Milana put it, on the bottom side of the map there, and then immediately Legend and Madness moved up together onto the opponent's flat, got picks there, and that was enough for them to get this big sustained push, but it was so decisive.
Oh,
There
Ryu
was
might
no
actually have a
hesitation.
chance.
They knew where the
Oh.
defense was from, and all of this is because they made that choice.
Jackpot with the tower once again. You see the splat on Madness via Kiwi, and this is a 2-1, now 3-1 advantage for Ryu, and a chance for them to go ahead and try and get the tower to neutral. But because of the slow play here, Milana, even though you have that advantage, it's quickly gone by the time the tower gets back to neutral.
Yeah, and you know, the tower just made it back to neutral, which is one of the key qualities of tower control, that it's not like splat zones where the objective just kind of goes in the direction of the opponents immediately. You have to wait for that tower to make it back to
You have to
neutral.
wait. Yeah, you have to wait a lot for the tower.
I will say, though, Nine, Ryu doing a fine job of picking up the splats. It was 4-2 there. They decided to not quite go to the tower yet. It feels like they're just trying to get a little bit more muscle behind this next push.
Yeah, and you saw right there, they had somebody pushed up ahead, but maybe stuck in that fight with Madness a little long. That was their K52, and they really needed that to
Oh
be
yeah,
able to
Ryu
advance
might have a
push
chance.
to
Holy
start.
crap.
Instead, you can see they're kind of stuck in this spot. There's specials coming out here, there's bombs, and now that Jared on that support weapon, the NZAP 85 is rushed into the middle here. That typically is when the push slows down or stops altogether.
Yeah, shout out to Madness for clearing the dance floor with that inkjet. Really put Ryu back in a tough spot, but they're going to try and go after the tower once again. Over 2 minutes left. They get a key splat
2
there.
minutes
Milana
left.
makes it 4-3 for the
They're
moment.
at checkpoint 1. Jackpot in danger. Ryu might win. Ryu went up to the tower. They're currently riding on the tower. They have lots of ink. More towards Jackpot. Jackpot doesn't have that much ink, but Ryu has lots of ink. And Ryu is currently at checkpoint 2. And guys, I don't know about this. I think Ryu is going to win
They
this one.
had the push, they had the advantage in the numbers.
I mean, there's
but
a
then they lose
minute and
teammate there
43
to a
seconds
splat,
left, and
that's
Ryu
all
is
Jackpot needs.
head by a lot, actually.
Wayward
Ryu's
bombs.
ahead by a lot.
Whenever you throw a bomb, you're almost, I mean, sure, you'd like to get a splat off of it, but more than anything, you're using it for aerial denial. When that low commitment still finds an opponent there and sends them back to spawn, it just means that for very little effort, you were able to stop it, and all the walls falling down, a full wipe. Really, at the start of that, again, it was their K52 who was pushed up in a great position, and just an unforced error taking the teeth out of that push.
And that's all it takes against a team the caliber of Jackpot, is just slipping on the banana peel once, because now they've got 2 specials and they are ready to go as far as just holding the fort. They still have a sizable lead, most notably 1 full checkpoint over Ryu. With a minute left, both teams with, now it's an advantage for Jackpot though, 3-2.
Yeah, but there's an advantage for Jackpot.
You're going to have to play perfect to try and close
Oh,
out this game.
You certainly are, Jordan, and you know, but
Very
Jackpot
close.
really isn't going to make it easy for Ryu at all. We see how strong these individual players are. All of these players are top players at the top of their game, and it's going to be a really difficult uphill battle for Ryu.
This is gonna be difficult.
Miku
Yeah,
just
this is gonna be a
trying
very
to
difficult guy.
get a little bit of turf control, trying to pick off some member of Jackpot, just being very patient, waiting for the approach, drops down. Oh, that is a key splat there.
Oh,
On
key
Madness to
splat
Miku,
for
after it.
Ryu.
Booyah bomb ready to go. How about Miku here, 9, paving the way for a potential comeback?
Yeah, this was
Whoa.
huge. You said they had to play
Oh my
perfect, and
God.
right there, Miku got both of those shots almost immediately onto Madness. All the other while, though, Leafy saying, hey, I can do cool things too. And that's going to slow it down ever so slightly. That might have given the rest of the members of Jackpot enough time to get back to mid. It does look like one of them jumped on the tower. Jared was sharking
We're
there.
going to
try
overtime.
take this one through.
Oh
But
my
they
God,
do
this
have
is so
all 4
close.
members up here. They've got their ink armor up. They're gonna
They got
get a
their
chance
ink
to make
armor
a
though.
push
Ryu's
one
got
more
ink
time.
armor. Ryu's
You
got a
see the
little more
splat
ink
there.
on the
It's now
battlefield.
3-3 Jackpot. All they have to do is just get back on that tower or stop and they'll get a chance. Meatloaf just trying to stay alive. Meatloaf cooking still. Moving to the left. Meatloaf
That's
trying to
game.
avoid the Nautilus, but
They
that
took the
will do
tower.
as
Ryu
Jackpot
got
able
the
to play
dub for
defense
that
when they
one.
needed it the
I
most.
think Ryu got the dub.
Jackpot here, Milana, a dominant.
Oh,
lead
no
here in
way,
grand finals,
dude.
just one game away from claiming the championship. I think we saw it right there. This is a team that is so talented, Milana. You can't afford the slips and the goof ups. We saw that once. And you
Oh
saw
my God.
the result of that.
So guys,
I mean, we talked about
one-
Jackpot at the very beginning of this tournament, that this is one of the top teams in North America, that they're constantly placing first, second, third in local tournaments and online
One
tournaments.
game away,
And, you know, we see
and then
this expertise
there's one
demonstrated
game.
so
If
greatly
Jackpot
in
wins the
this
next
tournament.
game, they are the champion.
So here we go.
of
We get
the
set for what will
Splatoon 2
eventually be
Inkopolis
Rainmaker here. Now,
Event
we just
1
don't know the map at this point,
2022
but
Finals.
really, Jackpot, I mean, these are the type of leads when you get to grand finals 3-0 that can really just be debilitating for your opponent. And it's tough because with Ryu, we've seen them go back and forth with Jackpot. It's just Jackpot, top to bottom, start to finish of every single game, they just don't give you much ground and they don't beat themselves.
And not giving much ground, I think, is actually very apt, too, because one of the other things that I hope all of you kids and squids watching here will note is there were 16 Tentamissiles that Ryu fired that game. And yet every time they got fired, Jackpot backed up, or
Yeah,
backed
Jackpot
up a
really
little bit,
backed
but
up
not
on
so
that
much
one.
They gave too
So
much
guys, I'm gonna
space.
be
That's
AFK
really
for
how
the
you
last
learn
time
at the higher
of
levels
this
to play
video,
around this. You
because
don't
there's
give up
still one more
everything
game
just to
actually
survive
after
the
this.
Tentamissiles. You nudge a
If
little bit to
Ryu
the
wins
left,
that
and you
game,
come back right to hold the position,
then
and you
Ryu still
understand
have a
what
chance.
positions you have to
Jackpot
hold on
wins
to,
the next
even if
game.
you're moving
Jackpot
away from the
are
Tentamissiles.
the
So that's a very
champion
fundamental
of
aspect
the
of this game.
2022
And a lot of times as you
Splatoon 2
see these strong
Inkopolis
teams
Event
play,
1
it really is
Finals.
the fundamentals pushed all the way to the limit.
So we'll
See,
have
that's 10
Rainmaker
times
coming
fast.
up in Mako Mart, and this combination here, Milana, what really strikes you about it?
I think that, you know, like in most Rainmaker maps, there's two distinct paths to be able to push the Rainmaker. Most teams opt to take it on top of that block on left and then push back that way. However, if a team gets a wipe and being able to push it right is definitely an option open.
Yeah, you try to go through the express checkout here, 9, but it really feels like with how well Jackpot plays and how consistent they are, it feels like for Ryu, maybe your best opportunity is that opening push when Jackpot doesn't have the support of specials. But to counteract that, you pointed it out, 9, Jackpot, they were building specials immediately before that first engagement in neutral here early on in these games.
Yeah, and on Rainmaker, it's all the more important there to not make the wrong move in those key moments at the start of the game. What that wrong move is, I can't tell you. The game hasn't happened yet, but it really is, again,
You're supposed to know this, 9,
well,
right?
okay, we can't let people know that the script has already been written, Jordan. You're letting it slip, but I agree entirely. And furthermore, I think on this map, once again, it is going to play into the strengths that Jackpot has here. And I know we keep saying the name Madness, but again, when you are using a short-range shooter-heavy comp, that Nautilus is the weapon that you're going to have to come up with an answer for, and it seems like every game that it's been present, there's just been a moment where it was too much for them to deal with.
And that's a good point because Milana, we made a lot of noise about Leafy and the splatter shot and going with the 52 gal. It really has been the Nautilus with Madness that seems to just be the difference maker for Jackpot, and now you get a chance to see it on display again, potentially, at Mako Mart.
This map is actually, I would say it's pretty good for an inkjet because there are those levels and you are able to use those levels to your advantage. And, you know, I think inkjet is not a super popular special when it comes to competitive play. However, Madness does an incredible job.
Oh, thankfully I just came in time. Rainmaker for the last map. Will Jackpot win or will they screw up? Here it is, so it is 3-1. It is 3-1 Jackpot, but can they get it all together and make them ahead?
Immediately here, piling on the right side. I'm actually a very un-Jackpot move there to try to make that, showing their hand a little early. Maybe they feel like they can find a way back out and slow this down without too much getting too bad too quickly. But pretty great start here for Ryu. We said you can't let anything bad happen in the opening here, and they were able to at least get that going. But as I say that, oh my goodness, everything. Clean up. Nothing left to clean.
Oh no.
Oh goodness. So
oh my god. Oh, I think Jackpot's got it. I think Jackpot's gonna win it all.
Madness with the inkjet. You know what they can do with that. They're just
I'll be so
Ryu back
fucking
to spawn.
surprised if Ryu will win.
However, that Rainmaker is still out there, so
Ryu's
doing a fine job of surviving that onslaught. That's platform unable to get Madness. Madness moving out of the way, still using that Nautilus, and there is the definition of
They have a very good lead actually.
Double splat for Madness that'll pave the way
anyone's
for
game though.
Jackpot.
I'm not sure.
Well, and it's so frustrating because at some point you do have to drop down and try to fight, but the Nautilus is waiting for you to do exactly that. And look at this. They're just going to keep grabbing it here to make sure that there's no sustained presence in mid for Ryu here to at least even try to make a counter push. It does look like they were able to take out Madness on that Nautilus here. So with this path that Ricky's taking to mid, there should be an opportunity to at least have it. But no, someone was behind him the entire time to once again slow it down. And again, we keep saying it, Jordan, that's going to give Jackpot enough time to get back to mid.
It is,
oh my god. Jackpot has so much time to get back to mid. Mid ground is the best. Mid ground is the best.
They're threatening. They're trying to push the Rainmaker. It's 4-2. Here's their opportunity.
Oh, here's their opportunity for
but the
you.
Rainmaker has to get popped yet again, and that'll slow them down just enough, Milana. How about Jackpot able to stuff that push?
We always say that Rainmaker is kind of a battle against the clock, that if you have the lead, it's your job to make sure that the clock ticks down.
Yeah, you have to have the lead. Otherwise, you'll be screwed because Rainmaker. Yeah, see, look, Ryu just lost the Rainmaker.
Not letting that Rainmaker go back to mid, and it's really
now the Rainmaker went back to mid. But you really need in this game, you really need to get back to mid, and you need to have your Rainmaker. Otherwise, if you don't, then you're probably all gonna get screwed, and then it's gonna be all. It's not gonna all end.
Splat there for Jackpot. A little trade at that moment. 3-3 and. This is where Ryu, we've seen him lose these games here, 9 at these moments because it just seems like the pressure from Jackpot is too much, but here's the opportunity, 4-2.
4-2, and I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see which way they take it here. They opted to take it to the left there. It is a little further from the spawn, as Milana noted earlier, but that time there was someone waiting, and it feels like the theme of this game has just been, oh, there's one more member of Jackpot left. And they've been moving around.
One Jackpot member. Oh, this is actually close in there. I think Jackpot might win by a little bit, though.
Knowing that that's a spot that needs to be held, but that gives Jared enough time to come back in and attack. And a crazy shot by Kiwi, but again, it's Jackpot who has the Rainmaker now, and this has just been a mess of an objective.
It really has in Milana.
Yeah, now Jackpot has a Rainmaker. This is actually a very, very close game. Actually, this could definitely go either way for all of them. I will be very surprised though if Ryu wins.
And this Jackpot team, Milana, they have no problem camping out in the spawn of Ryu.
I think what's really helping Jackpot's playstyle is I think they're just trying to be as much of a nuisance to Ryu as possible. You really couldn't have planned that hammer any more comedically than just that moment. But just being able to have a little bit of just having a player up.
There's actually, oh my god, 46 seconds. Oh, Ryu has the Rainmaker. This might go to overtime, or Ryu might win it all.
Push is a save, and having that thought in the back of your mind really affects it's going to affect how they play.
Kiwi with a key pick. Here's an opportunity. Rainmaker, though, gets back to neutral on 9. This is what it is. They're getting the 3-1s. They're getting the 4-2s. Ryu is, but they can't do much about it.
Are we certain that they're still spawning at their own spawn? I feel like they've been spawning at Jackpot spawn this entire time.
Ryu has a lot more ink, though.
From behind, and again,
and Jackpot lost the Rainmaker.
To get the pick with the Nautilus Inkopolis there. I will say they're getting maybe a little bit too cute with this. If these missiles find anybody, 40 is not many points. This is going to go all the way below.
What the heck is
Can
happening?
Legend run forward and get the pick? No.
Bro,
I don't think anyone
no,
else
that
can
is
get there
game.
in time.
And Ryu wins it at the buzzer. Holy crap, there has never been a game this close, but Ryu has won it right at the buzzer. Holy
shit. In overtime, Ryu gets the final push of the game, and because of the
what the heck? Ryu with the final push at the buzzer. It has never been that close of a game. That has definitely got to be the best game of the finals event one.
Reset the game modes
Holy
here. You're able to repeat any game mode
crap.
at this point here, Milana. This is a huge, and I
They
mean
were
huge
literally
win for
so
Ryu
close
to
to
stay
going to
afloat in the grand
overtime.
finals.
So close until Ryu has shot. Until Ryu has shot one of Jackpot's players,
Bring it back from here.
and then
you know,
to
it
make
might make
Ryu
Jackpot think a little
win
bit
it at
twice
the
about the
freaking
plays they make,
buzzer.
because we've seen that confidence and we've seen
Wow.
how much how decisive they are as a team, and you know, having that loss in their back pocket might make them think twice about the things that they do.
And 9, that was very surprising from Jackpot. I'm just going to say it because it felt like this is a team that this is what they do, start to finish. They play a very sound technical game, and to not be able to coordinate and get those splats that they needed to, and to really lose the leverage to Ryu down the stretch, that's fascinating to me. It really is, especially as Ryu was able to get that win on the last second.
Yeah,
it's fascinating too, but one thing that I completely missed there as we were looking at that final score sheet, Kiwi had 22 splats and assists with a bamboozler. That Jordan, I know we've had you on bamboozler one time in our twin sessions. We won't say.
Trust me,
we
you
won't say
don't
how many.
want to see me on it.
No, it was 22
really
less than what Kiwi ended up getting there. But again, that goes to show you again that when you're trying to work your way around the map to try to get these attacks and get these flanks and that. Note, if the enemy bamboozler is that sharp, then you almost have to go wherever they're not looking in order to make that play, because if you're shooting that well, it can be that much more difficult, and we've been saying that that was just choice by Jackpot to play that way. It might have been that Kiwi forced them to play that way.
So we are getting set for tower control on Wahoo World. As we know, a bit of a longer stage here, Milana, a lot of different ways that you can go, but obviously
you know what? We're just going to skip this part, actually.
Restricts a lot of that movement and freedom because everything is around this central objective.
We're just going to go straight to the Inkopolis game.
Thing, where they
tower control, ride the
they
tower.
To maneuver around, and they get picks on short-range weapons very quickly. So it does look like that Nautilus is coming down, but keep an eye on Ricky's weapon of choice there on Ryu. That's a foil squeezer, and I believe this to be Ricky's best weapon. So to bring it out at a time like this, what a nice thing to have in your back pocket.
Okay.
Well, let's see.
So let's see.
Can foil the plans of
you know what? I actually want you guys to watch it. I'm actually going to be AFK. I want you guys to watch it, and then at the end, I'm going to see
as the
who
first
won
tower
it all.
grab goes to Jackpot, and that is quickly stopped right there. However, Jackpot 4-2 advantage and an early lead and an early opportunity to push here, Milana, for Jackpot.
And I think, you know, we know how strong of a team Jackpot is, and they're definitely going to capitalize on that. We see Kiwi kind of getting pushed back, opting to jump back to spawn smartly to be able to make that push together with their team.
First checkpoint approach by Jared on top of the tower for Jackpot. They're going to clear that with no issues at all. Legend providing some support there with the Stingray, and now it's up to Ryu here, 9, to really keep them out of this second checkpoint, because we know that this can be a contentious one.
Yeah, this is where Wahoo World Tower Control is made. There's a spot right here where anyone can swim up to you from every angle. It's just so open here, and right now Ryu's done a pretty good job. Needs to get this quickly, and does, but look at that. Madness from the top rope. Kiwi gets the revenge splat there. So it does look like they've at least fairly adroitly moved that one away, but Meatloaf now back here on the bottom side of the map is going to have to be careful. You know the attack is going to come very quickly, and it does look like they managed to maintain at least a semblance of control of that lower area.
Meatloaf backing away into the hedges away from that suction bomb launcher. Meatloaf here trying to apply a little bit of pressure, playing a bit of a backline position. Pairs up here with a teammate trying to snuff out this splat. Here comes some bubbles, a little bit of support here, and so far it's Ryu just trying to maintain and hold their water here, Milana, because it feels like Jackpot is controlling this map from the get-go.
And you know, Jackpot does that really well. We've seen it in those past 4 matches, that Jackpot is able to pull up to that turf, and that is going to be be a key
2 hours, 7 minutes in.
That's 2 down on the side of Jackpot, and maybe this might be Ryu's opportunity to make that push.
And that was huge because Kiwi was about to get splatted by that splatter shot,
So,
able to maintain their ability to charge up these Tenta missiles. That'll displace Jackpot. But we have yet to see Ryu grab the tower here, Nine. It just feels like they're spinning their wheels so far.
Yeah, and on that right side of the map, Meatloaf has gone there almost every time and has been almost looking for people to attack from that side, and I think has guessed correctly each time. So I'm not sure if it's just a numbers case or if they don't have enough people over there to help or if it's simply a matter of execution, but that's why they haven't been able to get this push started. If you can't control that side of the map, it's going to get bad in a hurry. And speaking of bad in a hurry, Jordan.
So today is...
Yeah, trouble with a capital T.
What day is it today?
That's going to get them
it's August 26th today. I'm actually going to upload this video on August 27th, as you guys can see down there. So today's actually August 26th. But this video is getting uploaded August 27th.
Because we've yet to see them even control the tower for a moment. Jackpot just moments away themselves from the third checkpoint.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm so mesmerized by this. The gameplay that, Jackpot is really making their aggression known, and you can see it right here. They still have so much turf left.
So far, it looks like Ryu took the tower.
Ryu's gonna have to be able to cover that before they can even.
So there's a minute 30 seconds left. Will Jackpot win this game, or will Ryu win it, and they have to face off again?
Here's Kiwi trying to advance forward. You feel like this will be a key pick here if they can get it here, Nine, to try and pave the way. Well positioned is Jackpot with that Nautilus, but here's the splat, and this is a chance here for Ryu to finally get on the board, Nine.
Yep, you finally checked every box that you needed to in order to make this happen. I think that was maybe a little bit too honest of a bomb there for Miku. You saw actually got shot down. You don't see that a lot at this level. Ricky's going to at least be able to hold this left side and get another one and still maintain some control of center. So this push isn't quite dead in the water yet, but again, just slight missteps there. I'm not sure that Ouya bomb needed to come out that early.
And Ricky's going to have to really control this left-hand side of the map here as they try to make the approach to the second checkpoint. Some pressure up above. Ricky trying to retreat on the uninkable surface. Tower still in control of Ryu, but they are outnumbered now 4-2 by Jackpot, and the defense is there as Jackpot here. Milana trying to close this out with just an absolute stuffing of an effort.
I think what's really making Ryu's push difficult to even get started. Oh, Magnus with the impressive inkjetting as always. Getting a choice double, and with only 10 seconds left on the clock, that double is going to maybe close it for
3,
Jackpot.
2, oh, that's game. Who won?
Inkopolis showdown. Give all the coins to Jackpot as they close it out 4-1.
Oh my God! And Jackpot closed it out as they got 83 count and 18 for Ryu. Jackpot is the champion of the Splatoon 2 Inkopolis Event 1 Finals of 2022. Unbelievable. They had great effort. These guys, honestly, Jackpot, they deserve it, guys. No, never anyone else deserves it, guys.
www.playversus.com.
Yep, you guys gotta go check it out now.
It's a thrill hopping on here and calling this action with you. Big thanks to you, and of course, big thanks to our production department for putting on just a terrific show, and the teams and the players, of course, for making this another wonderful tournament. Don't forget to check out Play Versus for all of your Nintendo competitive action.
There it is, guys.
Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. So yes, guys, we will see you next week, guys. So, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, sub, hit the bell so you miss out any other future videos, guys. And we'll see you on the next vlog. Peace.